Hey everybody, it's Carl from Carl's Opinion. How you guys doing tonight? Anyway, a lot of news today. I know a lot of people are covering the Jesse Smollett matter. It's an open topic. If we want to call in about that, that's fine. We got a lot of other news, a lot of other news actually happening in the world today. So if, we'll try to cover some of that as well. Um, anyway, one of the big things that went down today probably didn't get reported much in the mainstream media for obvious reasons. But one of the big things that went down today was uh, the Ocasio Cortez's Green New Deal. Mitch McConnell decided to put it on the floor for a vote. Let me shoot over the headline on that here. Let's just shoot over there right now, I guess. Let's see. All right. And let's see. And it's calling number. Calling number is area code 775-273-8970. Again, that's 775-273-8970. Anyway, so what happened was that, okay, Ocasio Cortez is her Green New Deal. A lot of people don't realize that she actually filed this as a bill in the House of Representatives. And Senator Markey from, I believe, Massachusetts, he co-sponsored the bill. And let me move this over just a little bit here. Okay. There we go. There we go. That's me adjusting the camera. Sorry about that, guys. But anyway, so Senator Markey co-sponsored the bill, and he filed it in the U.S. Senate. And normally, senators, the biggest complaint they have is that, gee, especially if they're on the opposite party from who the majority party. In this case, Markey's the Democrat, Mitch McConnell's Republican. Republicans control the Senate, 53-47. A lot of complaints they always have is, oh, I'll file this bill, and the majority won't even put it on the floor for a vote. They won't send it. They'll let it die in committee, or then they won't. And then even if it gets through the committee, they still won't put it on the floor for a vote. So McConnell's like, well, hey, Mr. Markey, I've known you for years, and I tell you what I'm going to do. You file this bill, this Green New Deal with all its, in all its details, and very specific bill. I'm going to put it on the floor for you. I'm going to give you a vote. Then of course Markey gets furious about, oh, how could you do that? He goes, what are you talking about? You file this with the Senate. You hand it to the clerk, the clerk of the Senate, and this is your bill. And now I'm going to give you a vote on it because it's important. Of course, McConnell's being a smart ass because of course he knows none of the Democrats are can vote in favor of this thing, because if they have a debate on it, God, it's all the details. The estimated cost is somewhere between, I want to say 50 and 90 trillion dollars. The entire U.S. economy only puts out $20 trillion a year. That's the entire United States economy, $20 trillion per year. This bill was going to cost over, I think, the next 10 years between 50 and 90 trillion dollars. That's amazing. Okay. That, say it costs 90. That's like 5 years of the entire output of this economy, not the taxes collected. The entire output. Everybody, you work a job, you buy goods, whatever you do. Everybody, every business, every corporation, everybody operating in this country produces $20 trillion. That's it. And this bill is going to cost between 50 and 90 trillion dollars. There's no way you could. Well, it's just impossible to pay for it. It's going to cost that over the next 10 years. There's no way to pay for it. It's impossible. Even if everybody gave every cent they made, which means you're not living in a house, you're not paying for a car. Whatever. And then the people that you're not paying for a car, that means they're not making any money on the other end. But even if everybody took every dollar they had, impossible. You couldn't pay for this bill. So he said, I'm going to put it on the floor for a vote. And normally, again, a Democrat would be very happy that his bill in a Republican-controlled Senate actually got onto the floor for a vote. But of course, he was furious because it's going to hurt our movement. McConnell's like, well, wait, this is a bill. This is the Senate. This is not about a movement. A movement is something you want to go have a rally somewhere and have a movement. Fine, but this is the United States Senate. We're about getting business done. This is about business. And you file a bill. If you want to go talk about something, I guess the only reason why Markey filed it with Ocasio, other than Markey being in love with Ocasio Cortez, the only reason why he filed the bill is just so we can say, oh, this bill in the Senate. And of course, I know what he was going to say, oh, the Republicans will never put it up for a vote. They'll never let us debate it. They'll never vote on it. And they say, wasn't for those evil Republicans, we could get all these things through and save the country, save the world. Well, okay, here's your chance. Put it up for a vote. Hey, make the argument. Go ahead, let's have it. And they limited. They made a deal. They limited debate. I don't think they even had any to speak of, honestly. Democrats didn't want to have a debate. Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, all those guys, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, they didn't want to get up on the floor and start debating the ins and outs of this bill, the specifics of it, because it would show just how absurd it was. And that anybody signing off of this, and Harris and Booker and Warren all came out all in favor of this on the campaign trail. Well, if you're in favor of the campaign trail, then vote yes on it in the Senate. I mean, there's your chance. I mean, you can walk the walk, but, you can talk the talk, but you got to be able to walk the walk. You want to talk it like, oh, this is a great bill. Okay, well, here's your chance. Vote yes on it. And so what do? Schumer's like, oh, we can't get stuck on this. And I'm sure Schumer wasn't in favor of this thing being filed in the Senate because he knows it's a disaster. So he advised his people, okay, just if you're not going to vote for it, vote, present. You're allowed to vote present. I mean, you're not voting yes, you're not voting no, but you're voting, hey, I'm here. So they all voted present, except for I think four Democrats voted against it. I would imagine that was like Joe Manchin, anybody from like a coal mining, oil, and I don't know who the four Democrats were, but my guess Joe Manchin and anybody who comes from an area where they have fossil fuel production, that kind of thing. Hey, great douchebag! Hey, douchebag, there's a view. Hey, Mr. Douchebag, bringing people over and forbidden information. Hey, you guys. So we got forbidden information. Hey, yeah, I think Mr. Douchebag was talking about you, so I'll definitely have to check out your site. And Elizabeth Luker, thanks for coming over. Appreciate that. And good deal. And Mr. Douchebag, wherever he goes, causes mayhem. Wherever, the attacker of trolls, the slayer of trolls. And then he always brings a few trolls with him, by the way. I see you brought some people over. Thank you very much, man. And you brought a couple people over last night, too, man. Totally appreciated. That's great, great job, man. But any good troll kills today, Mr. Douchebag? I'm kind of curious about that. So usually he'll come on my site and say, where are all the trolls? And then literally like 2 minutes later they show up. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? Or they'll call in or something. And, they want to put some nasty words on, through the phone lines onto YouTube or something on my channel. And, you guys who have channels, you know what I'm talking about. It's like there's always some guy out there, they want to try to paint us as a certain way, so they'll put on some really heinous racist crap saying, oh, see, that's what those guys talk about over there. That's what these guys are really about. No, it's you leftist loser. You're the ones who try to put that word on my site. And, I have ability to screen calls out to a certain extent here. I have trolls trying to use my own humor against me. Well, they will not be successful, Mr. Douchebag. That will not happen. They cannot fight the mighty great douchebag. You're reminding me of the great. No doubt, man. But let me give a quick shout out to you guys. So. And see who's up there. Well, but let's see. But yeah, it's really funny. But yeah, that was funny today with McConnell did. And so the vote was 57 against in the Senate to whatever, like 43 voting president or something like that. It's like we're 40 voting president. But it's like, well, I mean, again, if you're gonna file a bill just so you can just talk about it on the campaign trail, just so you can talk about it at rallies and say we got this bill, but the Republicans won't give us a vote on it, and if they did, we could save the world. And then the Republicans turn around and say, okay, here's your vote, and then they get mad at you and say, oh, you're trying to destroy our movement. No, I thought your movement was about moving towards getting something done, and the way to get something done is to pass legislation, and then to then have that legislation executed on by the executive branch. Well, I guess that's not part of the plan for the Green New Deal. Or I mean, if you read parts of this thing, it looked like some high school kid wrote it. I mean, it's like, yeah, 0 votes for AOC. There's all the big support for her and her Green New Deal. I mean, the best you could get were just people voting present. And it's a slap. It's definitely a slap in her face. I mean, she couldn't get anybody to back her up. to say. I mean, nobody would go on the record and vote yes. I mean, that tells you something. I mean, will she wake up from that? Of course not. Why would this wake her up? There's no way this would wake her up. It just wouldn't happen. So, but yeah, let me go to get myself on here. Boom. There we go. But yeah, no, this isn't going to wake her up. She's still going to be living her dream world of, oh, one day the world will be a great place. We won't have, meat. You saw that with de Blasio in New York. It's funny, I was listening to de Blasio talk about, having meatless Mondays, for the school district. And then part of me was thinking like, well, a little bit of balanced food, hey, I'm getting older. I'm 53. I understand, as a man, you have to eat right. When you get older, you have to do that. Oh, there's Mr. Douchebag right there. Oh, I'm going to take a call from Mr. Douchebag. Hey, Mr. Douchebag, how you doing?
Well, hey, Carl, how you doing? How is everything, brother?
Doing good, man.
Did I call at a bad time? I know you usually like me to call after you do the news.
No, I was kind of doing it. So yeah, I mean, it was just this. Well, I know everybody's out there talking about the Smollett case today because it is news. It definitely is a big story. But I was looking around to see what else was covering, and then I knew McConnell was putting that her Ocasio Cortez's Markey's bill in the Senate, and Ocasio Cortez's bill in the House. On the floor for a vote. Yeah. I heard it was going to be midweek, so I thought it was going to be like tomorrow or something. And then suddenly I look at the Washington Times, and there's a story that he put it on the floor today.
Yeah.
It's like too crazy.
Yeah, no, they Hey, I brought some Patriots over Forbidden Information. She was an awesome YouTuber, check out her channel, and she's really, she's a true patriot. You know what I mean?
Oh no, good deal. You were talking about her last night, and I see someone else you brought over, Elizabeth Luker, looks like came over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good deal, man.
I'm pretty famous, Carl. Everybody loves my one-liners. You know what I mean? But I tell you what, it's getting hard to come up with new one-liners. You know what I mean? But hey, I can't give up. I won't give up. You know what I mean?
Well, no, I mean,
for my inspiration.
Well, no, you've been. I mean, ever since I met you over on Axis site, you've been coming up with great one-liners. So yeah,
Oh yeah.
But Forbidden Information has her own site, and she has her own YouTube site. What I'll do is I won't click over right now because I'm always afraid when I do that, I'm gonna lose the live stream. It's like, oh, there I go, boom, yeah. Because when I was talking to Texas RN last night, she goes, oh, click on it. And I'm like, I could, but I'm streaming up on it right now, and boy, I really hate to click over on it, and the next thing I lose the live stream. Let me love the great. Oh yeah. Well, wait, hold it. Forbidden Information, right? Yes, we love the great douchebag, and I was like, well, what's there not to love? Too funny.
Carl, this is there's another shout out I'd like to give Tony Patriot. He's another up and coming YouTuber. And this is what we got to do.
Oh wait, hold on. Is he that? Hold on. Is he that young kid in Florida? Is that him, or am I mixing him up with somebody else?
No, Tony Patriot. I don't know. I forget how I came across his channel, but he's another up and coming YouTuber. And he's another one that's trying to I think he's trying to grow his channel. I believe because he did a live stream today. And
oh wait, hold. Let me ask you a quick question. Hey, when you're going to appear on a live video call with me? When you do a live, you have a camera on your phone, don't you?
I do, but I don't think the trolls are going to like me too much. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you don't want to give your identity. Wait, hold it. I understand. You don't want to give your identity away so you can work your magic troll.
Carl, I don't have the courage to get behind the camera. You know what I'm saying? But I do have the courage to get behind. I do have the courage to get behind great patriots like you and Forbidden Information. Tony Patriot,
Oh no, I hear you, man. Totally understand. But yeah, tell me more about Tony Patriot. Tell me what you're saying. I didn't mean to interrupt you. So go ahead.
Oh no, it's all good. But no, Tony Patriot, because I feel like people, people like me, people like us, get behind content creators like you, Forbidden Information, Tony Patriot, because you guys can get the voice, you guys have the voice to get the message across. You know what I'm saying? And we all we all have to kind of try to stay connected in some way or another. You know what I mean? Because right now, I don't know if you heard about Article 13 or 11 in the European Union. They were talking a little bit about it today, how it's going to restrict. I think it's mostly based on members of the EU, but they're talking about how it could affect some content creators. But because what they're trying to do is they're trying to give, they're trying to basically push people back to the mainstream media. They don't want these independent content creators coming up and giving the news, because, as we all know, CNN is losing ratings. A lot of the liberal media is losing
from what I hear, I was watching Tucker Carlson tonight, and then I heard this from somebody else also, is that, CNN's ratings and MSNBC's ratings went way down last night because, their audience, I was talking to a liberal friend of mine today, and I said, gee, if all you watched was MSNBC or CNN for the last 2 years, you were probably shocked, totally couldn't believe the Mueller report's findings because you never heard a critique of all these analysts and stuff that were coming on these networks saying, oh yeah, it's slam dunk, impeachment, grand jury indictments, and they're going Trump, his family, they're all going to prison. That's all you heard for 2 years is that, oh yeah, we've seen the intelligence. He definitely colluded with the Russians. This is a slam dunk. Boom, boom, boom. Mueller's going to come and just slam the hell out of this whole family, and they're gone, and we'll be done with this evil. And then suddenly the Mueller report comes out and says, a lot of what guys like us knew, because we were looking at this kind of critically. We were saying, okay, well, let's maybe let's look at their point of view. And maybe there's collusion. I always kind of said, well, let's take a look, maybe, and then let's take a look on the other side. And then when you compare the two, you say, well, shit, this is crazy. That story is crazy. The idea that he's a Russian agent. So we came to that conclusion a long time ago because we were looking at both sides versus the MSNBC and CNN and their viewers only looking at one side, their side. And so when someone neutral like Mueller, who's actually less than neutral, he hates Trump. Remember him and Mueller and Comey are like best friends for years, and Trump fired Comey, and then Mueller went to go get a job, and then the same job, get his job, and then and he told Mueller no. There's no love lost between Mueller and Trump. So here's a guy who actually kind of probably hates Trump, and still comes up with the conclusion that no, man, there ain't no collusion. So all their viewers are probably like, wait, and so a lot of them were probably pissed off about the networks. And their ratings went down last night, big time. Fox's ratings went through the roof last night because everybody who's watching them said, wait, let me go over and watch Fox to see what's going on. I did the same thing in 2016. I used to watch MSNBC during the campaign because they were pretty fair on the coverage before Trump got the nomination. Because Trump was on Morning Joe like every morning. The way they got around equal time was that they said, look, we invited Hillary Clinton on, or we invited the other candidates on, and all the other candidates in the Republican primary and everybody else, and they wouldn't come on. But this guy, he was on all the MSNBC networks all the time. He was getting a fair shot until he actually got the nomination. So right at the time when he got the nomination, and their coverage of him and the Republicans went downhill fast. I couldn't get any fair stories on him. I couldn't get any fair stories on Clinton. It was all pro-Clinton, anti-Trump, negative Trump, positive Clinton stories. That's when I started watching Fox, back in June, July of 2016. So I guarantee you, I know, because I did the same thing. I know a lot of people who were watching MSNBC and CNN up until Sunday did the same thing I did, a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. They switched over to Fox last night to get, okay, let's find out what the real truth is now. We've been lied to for 2 years. Let's hear the real story. I guarantee that's what happened last night. Guarantee you.
I think Fox is rethinking their. It's interesting because I think Fox is actually rethinking going to the left. Because
well, they should.
I think they realize,
They should,
Because, Lilo's in the chat. Yo, Lilo, ¿qué pasó, mi amigo? ¿Todo está bien? Sorry, I had to give a shout out to Lilo. I just asked him, hey, what's up? How you doing? Hope everything's good. Sorry about that, Carl. I was giving a shout out to Lilo.
Oh no, I did the same thing. No, you got it. No problem, man. You got it.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is now you've even got some Democrats who are saying, okay, look, this is done. We need to move forward. And it's these these establishment types that have been in Washington for like 10, 15 years that are saying, no, now we got to subpoena Mueller. We got to subpoena people that were working for Mueller, and it's ridiculous because, again, all they're going to do is just waste more taxpayer money. And see, now it's kind of the Senate's turn to turn around and investigate these Democrats, which I hope they do because, hopefully, whether, let's say another future president, whether it's a liberal or a conservative president should not have to go through something like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, neither side should have to go through something like this. I mean, you have a complete abuse of the powers that basically are meant to protect us. I mean, we all know that judge that signed the FISA warrant. But what was it? Was it a low-level judge? I thought, or was it like I don't know. I forget who it was that just signed that warrant. But we can probably be assured that they were bought off.
Oh no, no, no. Oh no, I don't think. Oh no, I'll tell you right now. I don't think they were bought off. I think what it is you have a system in place where, okay, these FISA court judges are pretty much just rubber stamping when the CIA, FBI, whatever, brings them one of these. I think it's that and probably a little bit of incompetence and laziness. So when the CIA or FBI brings them one of these things, they just say, "Oh, okay, click." They rubber stamp it. Especially when when like Rosenstein signed off in the last one. The deputy attorney general. I mean, he puts his name to it. That's pretty big. I mean, the guy's like, oh yeah, I've known Rod for years, a U.S. District Court judge, blah blah blah. Yeah, okay, Rod signing this. Okay, I probably don't have to even read it. It sounds like they don't even have hearings on these. They submit these, of course, ex parte, of course, and it's secret. And then I always thought, silly me, that at a minimum they submit it, and then the judge would then call them in for a hearing to at least ask questions like, okay, I have a question on this, I have a question on this, and then try to vet out the request. But I think it's gotten to a point over time, since I think the FISA courts were put in place, it was after 9/11, so let's say the last 15 years, it's got to the point where these judges just say, well, we'll just take their word for it. And there's no accountability. It's like if a judge makes a bad decision, when's the last time you heard of somebody, filing a lawsuit saying, hey, you surveilled me and you shouldn't have? Because you don't even know you're being surveilled unless it goes to a trial. And then if it goes to a trial, you really can't complain because they generally got the goods on you. So I mean, how many FISA warrants are signed and people are surveilled? They never know they were surveilled, and it was done improperly. And these FISA court judges know that. They know nobody's ever going to know, so nobody's ever can complain. Nobody's ever going to look at my work. As long as I keep rubber stamping this, nobody's going to care. So I don't think they're bought off. I think it's just a question of, it's laziness, and they get used to it, and they just like, hey, no problem, I'll just stamp it. Because I'm pretty sure those FISA court judges, what they are, if I'm not mistaken, they're like U.S. District Court judges, and it's not a full-time job being a FISA court judge. And it's not like a FISA court judge building and there's like 10 of these guys and all sitting around waiting for these surveillance warrants to come in. These are just U.S. District Court judges. I think they're assigned by the Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court, Chief Justice Roberts now, and they say, okay, you're doing it this month, you're doing it next month. They just grab you from the local areas, probably, U.S. District Court judges like in D.C. or Philadelphia or whatever, and they say, okay, this is your turn, this is your turn, this is your turn, and they come in and they sit, and that's it. They're not. I guarantee they're at least U.S. District Court judges. They're not magistrates. And they just get chosen, and they maybe get a little extra pay for it, but probably not a lot. Maybe nothing. Who knows? And so I don't think it's bought. I think it's just incompetence, laziness, and they just get used to it. And they just used to rubber stamping the FBI and CIA.
Yeah. You know what I'm willing to bet? Now, I don't know this for sure, but I'm willing to bet money on it. Mercer, I'll bet you anything, behind the scenes, Mueller tried to investigate Mercer. The reason why I say that, now I'm not saying that's for sure. I make no claim that that's true, but the reason why I say that is because, again, the Mercers have close ties to Trump. They had close ties to Bannon. I think they also have ties to Kellyanne Conway. And it kind of makes you think that, the media never reported on Mercer being investigated or anything like that. And I guarantee you, I won't say I guarantee you, but I'm willing to bet that Mueller probably looked into the Mercer's finances as well. Because, again, they're huge, huge backers of Trump. and they also back a lot of conservative causes.
Oh,
They are on our side.
It could be, and I'm sure that's why Mueller's going to probably want some of that report redacted himself. Everybody thinks like, oh, it's just Trump and Barr is going to want this. I'm still in your hats. Okay, hold on. Wait, hold on. I got to write something real quick. Okay, at LYNKS.
Oh, can I give a shout out real quick while you're doing that, Carl?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. Hey, Lilo, do me a favor, brother. Check out Forbidden Information's channel. She's a great up and coming YouTuber. She's really knowledgeable about stuff going on, brother. Check out her channel. Sorry, I was trying to hurry you.
No, it's okay. No, I sent Link some hats.
Okay, he responded. Links the Don's in here. Sarah Sanders. Can I give him a quick shout out real quick?
Yeah, go right ahead, man. Okay. Go right ahead.
Hey, Links the Don and Laura Sanders. Check out Forbidden Information's channel. She's a great up and coming YouTuber. Please check out and subscribe to her channel. Lilo responded. I saw Laura Sanders and Links the Don come in. Lilo's asking if she's naughty.
There you go.
Lilo, she's awesome, brother. She's awesome.
Yeah, Lilo. If she's naughty, Lilo will definitely go over there, without a doubt.
Oh yeah, yeah, Lilo. Yeah, she's an awesome YouTuber, brother. She's great. And Laura Sanders, she's same thing. She's did she? My computer. Okay. First thing tomorrow morning. Okay. Thanks, Links for Dawn. I appreciate it. But I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt you, Carl. I do apologize.
No, go ahead. No, I was waiting for you. You were talking before you said.
But what's interesting, and I know I say this time and time again, but it makes you wonder how the Mercers are able to operate the way they do, because how I was talking about, and again, it's all theory. It's all theory. Do you remember when I was telling you about? I mean, everybody knew that Bannon went to Europe to start that movement, right? The movement to counter the Open Society Foundation's influence in Europe, basically, right? Well, all of a sudden, this Yellow Vest movement kind of pops up like shortly after,
right?
And then it's spreading through Europe, and it's also and it's going to now it was going into Canada. And you remember how when I was reading that article. How truckloads of Yellow Vest protesters were pouring into Canada, It's somebody's got to be paying for that. Now, I'm not saying that Mercer's behind that. I don't know. Nobody knows. I don't know. But I guarantee you somebody with money is behind paying those truckers to ship, to bring in those Yellow Vest protesters. Just like Antifa gets bussed around the United States, somebody's paying those bus drivers.
Right.
It's got to be the same tactic. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure everybody's paying them to be out there and protesting. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm. No, the truckers to get them out there.
To get the truckers out to protest?
No. The truckers, that somebody's paying the truckers to get the Yellow Vest protesters to where they're going. Paying.
Okay. Yeah. I see. You mean in other words,
sorry,
okay. No. I mean. Okay, so we're saying someone's paying for the whole logistics of this, like how Soros and company were paying for like Black Lives Matters to for them to go out and protest and place for Antifa to get to these locations and stuff. So you're thinking like someone like Mercer is paying, is paying for the logistics of getting these people out to the sites and organizing them and stuff. That could be totally true. And if you remember correctly, the Obama's Department of Justice was actually helping coordinate the logistics for these Black Lives Matters for their protests, and that was actually going on, and then that's one of the reasons why a lot of those Black Lives Matters protests, the big ones, haven't really seen too many of them because one Soros cut the money off because he realized that was a bad strategy because it actually helped Trump win the 2016 election because it scared a lot of white suburban women to voting for Trump, And then also the DOJ was no longer under President Trump. His Department of Justice was no longer helping them with the logistics and the coordination of getting people in the right places at the right time. So the idea that someone like Mercer or some big money is behind helping these people out with the logistics and like maybe getting them food, getting them transportation. I could definitely see that. I mean, we always want to say, oh, this is homegrown, but it's homegrown, but somebody still has to get there. You still have to get a ride to get to the location, and somebody has to coordinate the time and everything to make it successful. And people always say, oh, it's homegrown, like when the Black Lives Matter protests were, oh, it's homegrown, it's all just social media. No, and no. That was very well coordinated, very well planned out. Logistics were taken care of to make it look make it look like it was just people just coming out because they're upset. No, it was through the use of social media. Don't get me wrong; they were using social media to get people to the right places. But it wasn't some dude sitting in his living room going, "Hey, let's go out and protest tonight." No, it was very well coordinated. So the idea that they're coordinating over there, I can see that.
Well, what's interesting, you don't hear much about Antifa either. It's kind of like they're kind of winding down a little bit. I mean, you might hear them in the more Democrat-controlled cities and states, but you really don't hear them much about going to campuses and attacking conservatives. I mean, you really don't hear much about Antifa anymore. I mean, obviously, maybe the mainstream media feels like they don't want to cover it, but you really don't. It seems like they're kind of going the way of Black Lives Matter. It seems like they're not really.
Well, it could be like every movements have to have a certain energy to them, and it could be that they're just running out of steam, or maybe people are getting tired of protesting, or maybe let's be honest, it's been 2 years now. Trump's been in office. Economy's doing good. Peace. He's keeping us out of going to war. He's trying to. He'd rather look like he gave in to. It's funny coming from a guy who's like a megalomaniac like Trump. Trump's about Trump, right? He wants to always look good, and this is how good of a person he is. Okay, when he just refused to enforce new sanctions against Kim to try to get him back to the table, he knew he was going to take a hit on that. He knew people would say, "Oh, you gave in. Oh, you gave in. Oh, you gave in. Oh, you're a wimp. Oh, you look weak." He was willing to look. He was willing to look weak to actually try to, in the name of peace, between our country and North Korea, and that's pretty freaking awesome that he'd be willing to do that.
Yep.
So I mean, so anybody who says like, "Oh, he's just a selfish SOB." Wrong. I mean, he just stuck his neck out on that. He went against all his advisors. He had no support from it within his own administration, and he said, "No, man. Hey, the guy is like talking about starting missile launches again. He's talking about nuclear testing again. He just they just pulled out of that liaison office between North and South Korea." And he realized, hey, man, this thing could fall apart, and we could be back on a war footing, and we may have to go blow some people up, and some people over there in Seoul or in Tokyo may get blown up too. He goes, you know what? I'll take it on the chin on this one. I'm gonna send a message to Kim. Hey, Kim, I'm not, I'm gonna lead first instead of waiting for Kim. I'm gonna make the first move. I'm potentially gonna look weak, and I'm willing to do that in the name of peace. I mean, this guy would rather do that than go to war. Anybody who said, "Oh, we're afraid Trump's going to have his hand on the nuclear button," well, this is the last guy who wants to start a war with anybody. And so maybe these kids are like seeing this. It's now 2 years. Okay, like everybody said. Remember, they all thought, "Oh, Trump's going to tank the economy. He's going to put us in war. He's a nutcase. He's crazy." And now it's 2 years later, and they realize, well, he's not crazy. He's running a really good economy. Things are really going good. He's bringing jobs back into the country, and and I don't know. Maybe the kids are just realizing, well, shit, this ain't so bad. And not to mention, then on top of that, just now the Mueller report comes out and says everything you've been told about by the mainstream media has been a complete lie. They've been fabricating, making all this stuff up, pushing this story. Lying to you, knowing they were lying to you, and just keep saying the same stupid shit over and over again, just a new little twist to make it seem worse. He's, oh my God, he's terrible. What an awful person he is. And now it just all came crashing down on Sunday, Yesterday was the first
Mm-hmm.
day of it, and then today they're still like, and they're still making up bullshit stories and excuses. But maybe now these kids are like, well, this ain't so bad. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
I have hope. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
It's it's like H.A. Goodman. He was a huge Bernie Sanders supporter. Now he's a Trump supporter, and I think H.A. Goodman had a huge he had a huge hand in turning a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters into Trump supporters. I mean,
That
they don't
that could be
necessarily.
because he has like I know he has like a couple hundred or he has over 100,000 subs. I was on a site the other night. It was
Yeah.
late, and it was the only one live streaming
Mm-hmm.
late the other night. I did a live
Mm-hmm.
stream, but I did it earlier, and it was after
Mm-hmm.
midnight my time, and he was on. I guess maybe he's on the West Coast or something. I don't know, but he
Yeah.
had a Trump
Mm-hmm.
he had a Make America Great Again hat on. So I sent him a super
Mm-hmm.
chat, and I go, hey, like the hat, you know. And so
Mm-hmm.
he noticed it. He goes, "Hey, Carl's opinion. Hey, thanks, man. Yeah." And he's talking about the "Make
Mm-hmm.
America Great Again" hat. And then a bunch of people started commenting on
Yeah.
it. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he seems like a good guy. I mean, I don't have time to listen to him all the time, but again, I
Mm-hmm.
like the fact he's on like around midnight or 1, and so if you're up late and you're
Mm-hmm.
looking for somebody to kind of go listen to a live stream on, he was there, and I'm like, hey, I'm all
Mm-hmm.
on it, and yeah, it was fun listening to him. He knows his facts. He's got a good grasp of the news and the events going on. So yeah, I like people like that.
Yeah. It's because this is something that the Silicon Valley giants fear is the rise of all tech. They fear the rise of like people like H.A. Goodman who have a large following, people like Diamond and Silk, Kevin's Corner, Derek Grayson, Axe. They fear people like that because they have such a large following. They don't want people giving content like that because they know it derives from their narrative,
Oh yeah,
and so now they're
right. You can add
I
Paul
mean.
Watson, Mark Dice to that as well, and
Mhm.
say Sargon of
Oh, Mark
Akkad.
Dice has been.
Yeah, Sargon of
Yeah,
Akkad. You ever listen to him, Sargon of Akkad?
yeah. I see him once in a while. I comment on his stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
I,
so
I comment. I put my
but
little.
no, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I agree with
Mhm.
you. Is that like be honest, like let's face it. If there wasn't YouTube for the last 2 years, and the only other station doing any pushback was Fox,
Mhm.
a lot of people were getting their news and getting the opposite story in the pushback from YouTube. You know,
Mhm.
and they'd love to shut that down because then it's just you have to listen to them and believe them and drink their Kool-Aid, and then when Mueller comes out with a report that says, if I just been watching
Mhm.
MSNBC and CNN and not watching YouTube or Fox, I would have thought, hey
Mhm.
man, God, in Mueller's report came, I would have been like, wow, what happened? Wow, this Mueller guy must be corrupt. He must be part of the conspiracy, and that's what they're saying today. Mueller,
Yeah.
who's a total never Trumper and a big Jim
Mhm.
Comey fan, they're good friends, is now he's part of the
Mhm.
conspiracy. I mean, these people are
Yeah.
insane. But they have to believe that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they got this huge cognitive dissonance going on in their head. For 2 years, they believed and been
Mhm.
told one thing, and now the truth comes out, and it's something else, and their whole world has just collapsed around them. So now they have to
Yeah.
then they have to find another reason for it, other than because they can't admit that they were wrong. So they have to say, oh well, this Mueller guy must
Yeah.
be corrupt. He must be part of the conspiracy.
Yeah. Well, I like because that conspiracy gained a lot of steam, in the last maybe 6 months before the investigation ended. Like 6 months ago, it was picking up steam that Mueller and Trump were working together. And if you stop, and it doesn't seem that far fetched because look at what we found out. We found out that the DNC paid for this dossier out of our taxpayer money. You know, for this dossier, Christopher Steele, whatever, this one of the who is it? They call him a wannabe James Bond agent, but
Oh, that's pretty good.
we
Yeah,
found that out.
yeah.
Yeah, and then we found out that what was it? Bruce Orr's wife and Andrew McCabe, had stuff to do with it. I guess they met with this guy and stuff, and
Well,
they
actually, no, yeah. Bruce Orr's wife, and Bruce Orr admitted this to McCabe. He told McCabe this when he gave him the dossier. He said
Mhm.
in July of 2016, and McCabe conveniently left this meeting out of his book. Remember, McCabe was pushing his book. He did his little 60 Minutes interview and all these interviews on mainstream media. Andrew McCabe, he just did his
Yeah,
book tour. Well, he left that
yeah,
meeting out of his book. That meeting was between Bruce
mhm,
Orr, Andrew McCabe, and Lisa Page was there. And Lisa Page confirmed what Bruce Orr
mhm,
said in her testimony.
mhm,
Bruce Orr comes in to McCabe.
mhm,
He's from DOJ. He says, "Hey, man, I got this dossier, but I want to tell you." He warns him. I got this from my
mhm,
wife, who works for Fusion GPS, who's
mhm,
over there. who was hired by the Clintons to get opposition research. So opposition research isn't always true. It's just they try to put some nasty shit out there. They take an inference, another inference, another inference, and add it up to something. But it's not like the Swift boat thing in 2004. It wasn't really true, but it was close. It was close, so it made it sound like believable. So he goes, so this is our research. So be careful. He goes, because hey, this came from my wife's company, and they're working for the Clintons. So it's probably some trash in here. And he also told McCabe, hey, this guy hates Donald Trump. So just let you know. So do me a favor, vet this, do investigate it. And McCabe was like, yeah, don't worry, we got it from here. Well, McCabe never investigated it, never vetted it himself, and they just handed it off. And then within 3 months, they're using it for a FISA warrant. So Bruce Orr told him that, hey, this came from my wife's company. And he either got it from Steele directly or got it from his wife. I can't remember who actually handed him the little thumb drive with the dossier on it. But Orr was honest. He goes, hey, I'm just letting you know where this came. Because, Orr didn't we all thought Orr was a bad guy. But it turns out, according to all the testimony, that Orr was straight up with the FBI when he walked it over. And he said, hey, man, this guy, but here it is, because I got it, and I feel like I have to give it to you. Thinking the FBI would do their job and vet it themselves, and probably never thinking they'd actually use it for the basis for the FISA warrant. I mean, I find it hard to believe he thought that was going to happen.
Yeah. Well, it's, the whole thing, too, like, and I know I've said this before, Mueller was hoping that the Democrats could take both House and Senate. And that's what he was doing, stalling for time. Because, he was, all the raids on, what was it, Michael Cohen's, his lawyer, that's stuff you do for a freaking drug dealer, or busting some kind of a drug lord,
right.
Like Roger Stone, they really need night goggles and what is it, 15, 20 heavily armed men for a 78-year-old man? I mean, Jesus, he probably would have shown up in court if you gave him a subpoena. If you just, hey, this is your court date, but...
Oh, no, there's no reason. Look, 6 a.m. in the morning, you got armed guard. First of all, the guy was always in Times Square, heading off to a Fox studio or somewhere to do an interview. I mean, you could have picked this guy up any time. You didn't have to, pick him up, right when he got up and got out of bed, try to scare the shit out of him. You could have just said, he wasn't going anywhere. I mean, you didn't have to try to make some pre-dawn invasion and then have some boat out there in the channel, also an armed, an armed amphibious device, with 50 cal on top, thinking was this guy going to shoot it out with you or something? Why the hell would he do that? Well, first of all, he's probably heading his way for a pardon from the Trump team. I'm sure Trump's not going to let this guy go through all this bullshit for the next 2 years and spend millions of dollars on attorney's fees. I guess Trump's probably gonna come. This is how Trump's gonna say it too. I'm sure it's like, hey, you know what? None of these guys would be going through this shit if it wasn't because they knew me, and I don't think that's fair. Just because you know me or you work with me, that you're going through the shit. No, that's not gonna happen. And just like you said earlier, we got to make sure no other president. Trump said the same thing. We got to make sure no other president ever has to go through this. Because this was absurd. Okay, so I think Trump's probably going to say these guys shouldn't have to go through this. Probably going to pardon Papadopoulos. Probably going to commute the sentence of Manafort. Unfortunately, Manafort is still going to be facing charges in New York State for evading their taxes, their income taxes. There's nothing Trump can do about that. But then in Corsi, even though Corsi wasn't charged, probably should give him a full pardon anyway, just to make sure he doesn't have to go through any shit. So that's Stone, Papadopoulos, Manafort, and Corsi, and then Flynn. He definitely needs to just give a straight out pardon to, and say, you know what, this is totally unfair about how they treated him and how he's had to go through all this. He's had a great career, and just give Flynn an outright pardon. And also, so I'd say Manafort commuted sentence. Manafort commuted sentence. Or maybe even give him a pardon, because that way they can't use the felony conviction against him in the state court if he goes to trial there. So maybe Manafort a full pardon, Stone a full pardon, Corsi a full pardon, Papadopoulos a full pardon, and Flynn a full pardon. And just say, you know what, these guys would have never gone through this shit if it wasn't for the fact that they knew me. It's not fair. I'm not happy about it. They're getting a pardon. Have a nice day. That's what he should do.
I wonder if Trump's going to pardon Julian Assange and Edward Snowden. I mean, Julian Assange might be the more likely one to get a pardon than Edward Snowden, but you don't really hear much about Edward Snowden anymore. I mean, I guess, last I heard he was in Russia, but, they don't really cover him much anymore.
No, it's well, I mean, the guy, there's been so much news since Snowden. It's like Jesus, like there's
Mm-hmm.
well, first of all, they've had to do wall to wall 24/7 coverage on Mueller. I mean, if you not to mention if you watch MSNBC and CNN, you think there's nothing else going on in the
Mm-hmm.
world. I mean,
Yeah.
they don't cover any other news. And if they do, it's on like the bottom half of the hour of any of their shows, like at the 45-minute mark,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll give it just a couple of
Mm-hmm.
seconds and say, "Oh, by the way, and
Mm-hmm.
by the way, this happened today too." I saw that there was a big
Mm-hmm.
story that happened. It was Brian Williams. He did like 50
Mm-hmm.
minutes on Trump, Russia, and then like there was some big story. I
Mm-hmm.
can't remember what it was. And then he goes, "Well, we couldn't let tonight go by though. We have to mention this story." And literally the last 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and they literally talk about it for a minute. And I'm like, God damn!
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you watch these shows, you're not getting any other news. I mean, there's like nothing
Yeah.
else going on in the world. It's like it was like insane.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
God, I mean, just pick up a like today, like the big story today, smallest story, but there's a lot of other freaking news going on. It's like there's that
Yeah.
story and there's a lot of other stuff going on. You know,
Mm-hmm.
cover you can cover everything. You don't have to give like 50 minutes to the Trump Russia story. You can give like 30 minutes and then spend 30 like
Yeah.
it's like just say okay, the first 30 minutes can be Trump Russia, the second 30 minutes will cover everything else. But they weren't even willing to do
Yeah.
that. I mean, they weren't willing to do
Yeah.
that at all. They just 45, 50, 55 minutes of Trump Russia and then, maybe 2 minutes of something else. It's like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah. It kind of makes you think a little bit about, you know, if there's somebody, because, I mean, we definitely have to worry about Trump getting reelected in 2020.
Oh,
Hopefully he
yeah,
does,
definitely, man. We got to be out there, man. We got to be out there.
um, but what's interesting is I wonder if there's anybody that they're grooming to take his place. I wouldn't be surprised if there was. Maybe like because let's face it, some of these people on the left, these activists and stuff, they're getting groomed for politics. They'll be running when they're old enough.
Right, sure.
There's got to be somebody, that they're grooming to maybe take Trump's place a little bit.
Well, I'll be honest with you.
mean,
The Democrats, I think, are better at grooming people than we are. I don't think we. I'm looking back I'm thinking back in my head the last several elections, and the guys that won, they really weren't groomed. I mean, if you think about it, like okay, I mean Trump, of course, was definitely not groomed, and then like Romney, well, he wasn't groomed. Romney groomed himself, and then McCain.
Yeah.
Well, McCain was just older than dirt, was just in the Senate forever. And then you go
Yeah.
back to Bush, and Bush was just part of a family dynasty. And then Bob Dole, well, he wasn't groomed by anybody. He was just an asshole. And then '92, you go back to George H.W. was running it for re-election. Then Reagan wasn't groomed. Reagan was an activist, and then governor. And then then he groomed himself. The Republican Party had nothing to do with him. He was on the conservative side of the Republican Party, so he wasn't part of the establishment Republican. He was like with the Barry Goldwater side of the Republican Party. So and then you go Eisenhower. Well, obviously it's just a war hero. I mean, probably the last person you can say that was groomed by the Republicans was like Dewey, who was groomed through the ranks, through the establishment ranks. So we're not real good at that, which is actually probably a good thing. Because if you think about it, most people, I think most of our presidents, except for the last several of them, except for like say H.W., were not part of the establishment. I mean, George W. might have governed like an establishment Republican, but he was definitely not an establishment Republican. I mean, he was just he was just a partier. I mean, his brother was a serious one.
He was still a part of that globalist cabal, though. I mean,
he benefited from it. That's why. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't think he was ever smart enough to know what it was. I think he took his marching orders, but I mean, he benefited from it because his dad was rich and he was rich as a result. But I don't think.
I always wondered if Cheney was a globalist. I know Cheney's a neoconservative?
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely favors capitalism, but he's one of those neoconservatives, that favors capitalism, but they like their wars and they like causing problems around the world to sell weapons. I mean, but you still have. You still had, one of the few things that resonated with me when Bush was in office, George W. Bush, when he was in office, right? One of the things one of the few things he said was, and it actually resonated with a lot of people. He told Americans, look, you love our great country. I'm not saying in the exact words he said it, but I remember him saying it along these words. He said, go about your business day to day. Go out, support local businesses. Go out and party. Not party, but like go out to restaurants. Buy things like you normally do. You know what I'm saying? And I actually thought that was an interesting thing that he said, because it was a message that actually resonated with people. You know, and people were doing it. People were doing it.
You're talking about like after. Maybe I mixed you up on something. You're talking about after 9/11.
Yeah. When he said that.
Well, yeah, because a lot of people were like, not. Well, look, he was thinking survival for the country. This is a consumer-driven economy, and a lot of people were scared to go out and spend money. They were saving money, and they weren't spending it. They weren't buying stuff. They weren't going on vacation. They weren't, and we're a consumer-driven economy, so he's like, oh, shit, everybody's, like, scared and, like, hoarding their money and storing food, waiting for the big attack to happen. This economy's going to fall to pieces. So it's like, yeah, go on vacation, go to Disneyland. I remember that. Go to Disneyland. You said that even. Or he probably he probably said go to Disney World, because that's his brother, his brother's state, Florida. But yeah, no, but it was true though. I mean, to a certain extent, it was, I guess, survival, but it also was like, hey, look, relax, we got this. Go about your lives. You don't have to be all paranoid and freaked out. Every 10 seconds. It makes for a bad group of people.
I remember reading articles, and this actually kind of showed me. Well, this is actually when I think the decline of, like, because back in 2001 and 2, when you had first-person shooter games becoming popular in video games, right? People were, I think it was I forget who it was that was the Secretary of Homeland Security at the time, but he made a comment that war is not like video games, because so many people were thinking that special forces are carrying out missions, and they're like, it's like a first person shooter type thing, and I'm like, how stupid can these gamers be to make these comments, and see, that was actually, to me, that was like the beginning of the decline of, well, I won't say the beginning. I mean, every generation has been dumbed down to a point. They've I don't like to call anybody dumb, but I mean, the millennial generation, they're not dumb. They just don't understand things. They don't. They're too lazy to read.
I swear, you took the words out of my mouth. I was about to say they just don't read anything. They don't read any news.
Yeah.
They don't pay attention. Yeah. I mean, I swear to God, you took the words out of my mouth. Yeah.
Carl, what's really interesting, but I look at it like this. Because I know last couple of times on the show I talked about a couple of people that I've actually red-pilled, right? And I've actually had them come back to me and look at things and, ask me about this. And, the best way to red-pill someone is to give them the information, give them the truth, let them filter it out, and then, and if they really want to know, they'll come back to you.
Right.
And all of a sudden, it's like, but see, the one guy that I was telling you about, he likes to shoot. He likes to shoot. He's a competitive shooter. You know, and I think what's getting him is the fact that all these Democrats are pushing gun control legislation, and I think that's kind of pushing him more to our side. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't necessarily identify myself as a conservative, but I have many conservative views,
Right.
I mean, if anything, I have left-leaning views and I have conservative views. But see, the left, obviously, as you know, they want to make everything about, well, you got to think this way if you think about that way. It's like I've said before, I'm all about people marrying who they want to marry. I'm all about people, finding happiness. That's part of what makes our country great, is you have the right to marry who you want to marry without fear of persecution. You know, I mean, if somebody makes you happy, do your thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Just don't, like you said, just don't throw it in our face.
Exactly. Yeah. There was that saying a while back where I think it was a transgender said that people, I didn't go anywhere very fast, but I think there was like correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I remember reading something about a dating website that was showing transgender people who were looking for, it's like one of the first things that came up when, like if men were searching for women, one of the first things that came up were all these transgender women that, were popping up in these searches, and I don't know what dating app that was. I can't, I don't know, but I thought I remember seeing something like that in an article, and I'm like, you can't force people to date someone they don't want to date.
No.
I mean, you're talking about a huge violation of privacy right there.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I mean, yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, well, Carl, we're living in a crazy world. I mean, I got a comment out there that's got almost 600 likes. One of my many comments that has a bunch of likes. But it's like, and you can't reason with people who, eat soap pods and are confused about what bathroom to use. I mean,
right?
Jesus,
Yeah. Well, first of all, I mean, when you start hitting people with all this kind of bullshit, I mean, it messes with their brain. I mean, you got to worry. I mean, these kids got to walk around every day worrying about not triggering somebody. They can't even clap anymore.
Yeah.
They got to snap their fingers. Okay, snap your fingers. Don't clap. Don't call this person a he. Don't call this person a she. Make up some other word. Be real careful if you make a joke. Don't make any jokes because you may offend somebody. Don't have a discussion. Okay, be careful. Like if maybe you want to go eat Mexican food. Oh no, you're oppressing this person. It's like say, oh, I like Mexican food. Oh, you're just saying that. And it's like, well, no, actually I do. It's like I mean. These kids today, I mean, they got to be like, what's the word? All. I'm trying to think of the psychological term for it, but like
politically correct. They have to be.
Yeah, but what's the psychological term? They're like, well, okay. Here, I'm not a psychologist. I'll say they got to be like really stressed out.
Like yeah. Like I mean, because see, that's kind of the plan of these globalists. I mean, it's like in California, you can go to jail for misgendering somebody. I'm like. You try passing stuff like that in the rural Midwest, and in Republican control, red states, you're going to have problems. Because,
wait, hold it, Amy.
I mean,
Hold it. Thank you, Amy D. Cognitive dissonance. Yes, diffidence.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Oh, Amy D. Hey, Amy D. What's up? I didn't see her in the chat.
Yeah.
Chat kind of went quiet, yeah. But yeah, there she is. Hey, Amy, what's up? This whole thing about genders. I mean, okay, yeah, we have animals that reproduce asexually. Okay, but last time I checked, the human race is not asexual.
Right.
I mean, it's it kind of reminds me of that movie Demolition Man where I forget her name, Sandra Bullock, right? And she goes, "Oh, do you want to have sex with Sylvester Stallone's character?" And she puts that machine on, and he's like, "What the heck is this?" I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound inappropriate. I do apologize, but it kind of reminds me of that, of that whole utopia that they live in. I mean, but it's like when they give each other five, nobody can touch anybody. I mean, God, that's almost like the society we're heading to.
Yeah, well, hopefully not. I mean, hopefully not. Hopefully it's not going to go that way, or like in that movie Idiocracy, where like the stupid people run everything. You ever see that movie? Like the guy gets into a cryogenic machine, and the world gets beat up or destroyed, and then he comes out of it, and all the stupid people are running the world. And he's able to escape out of, like, they lock him up in jail, and he's able to escape because he tells the guys, hey, I'm supposed to get out today. And he goes, well, let me see. No, I said you're not. He goes, oh, no, they made a mistake. I'm supposed to get out today. And he goes, oh, okay, good. You're free to go. Because, like, they're all stupid. So hopefully it doesn't get to the point of, like, the movie with, like, Sandra Bullock. I remember seeing that, where, like, they're just totally emotionless. They are just all just nice, and nobody, challenges anybody. Nobody is confrontational. Nobody does anything, I mean, or it gets to Idiocracy. So hopefully it doesn't go in either of those directions. I think we have a good shot for it not to go. I think, like you said, as long as we keep promoting each other, we keep talking to each other, we keep letting each other know we're not alone, you're not crazy, it's okay to question these things. I mean, it's funny, the left used to always question authority. Used to, that was their thing. And then, like, you see the left now not questioning, they question Trump, but they don't question the real authority behind who's going after Trump. Nobody's asking the hard questions. Who's going after? Who are these group of people in the? First of all, these people in the FBI and the CIA and Clapper and Comey and Brennan and all those guys and McCabe and Strzok and Page, you know, they didn't just get there by accident. You know, they were all kind of, how do they all work their way up through those agencies? I mean, how do they all work their way up through those agencies and keep getting promoted? I mean, Strzok was one of the top. You know, you can't take anything away from Strzok as far as being a top counter intel guy. I mean, first of all, look what he accomplished as far as on this.
Yeah.
He got the entire he got the entire FBI and DOJ moving to go after Donald Trump. I mean, that's a pretty good you know, psyops operation that he conducted and he was successful at doing. So and he was one of the top counter intel guys in the world. How the hell did he get to that position, being, you know, like he was, as far as like being like anti-American people, anti-regular working class people? How and how did he manage to get to that high level where he's able to bring down the forces of hell on top of, like, you know, even a candidate or even a president? Where how did he accumulate that much power? Who are around him? People say, oh, the FBI is full of lots of good people, the CIA is full of lots of good people. Well, there may be lots of good people, but it's not like there's more than just Strzok and Page over there that were screwing around. Same thing with DOJ. Okay, so I mean, these guys couldn't just operate and get away with all this unless there was a whole group of people before them that were promoted, and they got promoted from them, and there's a whole group of people assisting them in the wings. I mean, I guarantee you there's more than just Strzok and Page. I guarantee you there's Strzok, Page, and probably another 100 or 200 people, maybe 1,000 people over there, who are all part of this kind of weird thing. You know, and nobody's questioning that. Nobody's looking. I was like, oh, these two bad apples. My ass, these two bad apples. And there's got to be a lot more for these guys to be able to be in that position. Somebody had to kind of get them in there. So that's the question we need to be asking, and nobody out there is asking that. Who else? How many other Strzok and Pages are out there, and how many are not coming forward, and how many are still there? That's the scary part. That's the scary part.
Oh yeah. I mean, you know, and there's, I mean, you know, I'm sure this Mueller report's going to reveal some interesting things. But if they got to release the thing fully, I mean, they can't. They have to release the thing in its entirety. They can't have anything redacted.
Okay. Look, here's the problem. Okay, the one law Barr cited to, and I got it right here. Hold on. It's Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure.
Can I give a quick shout out to Lee Pure Imagination UTV?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Amy D, Lilo, Laura Sanders, check out Lee Pure Imagination UTV. He is a wonderful up-and-coming YouTuber. He's got great content, great knowledge of politics. Everybody check out his channel. You know, share his videos, help him grow. He's a great YouTuber. He's awesome. And, I guess forbidden information left already. Okay. That's cool. I haven't seen it. It's all good. But, everybody check out Lee Pure Imagination UTV. And, okay, go ahead, Carl. I'm sorry. I just want to give that quick shout out. Lee's a great YouTuber. He's awesome. Really smart guy. I love watching him. Because I love how, both you and Lee have great knowledge as to what's going on. You know, like, I'm still kind of learning my stuff, you know. Like I said, I've been red pill for about maybe 4 or 5 years now, you know. But, you guys have really been studying this stuff for a long time, I can tell, you know.
Let me punch.
No, go ahead. What were you going to say now? You said you had
hold on.
something from Barr?
Hold on. Let me punch this up right here. Okay, hold on. Let me put myself in here real quick. Hey, there I am. All right, so this is part of the Barr summary of Mueller's report. This is on page. It's actually the last page. This is page 4, right below his signature. Okay, so this is why they have to redact some of this stuff. Okay, so first of all, you got right here, based on this is up. I'm not sure if you see it up yet because we have a delay. Let me see if it's up on the screen yet. Let me see if it's made its way to YouTube. Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, it's on.
It's coming. Yeah, I could see it, but it's faint on my computer. Let me see. Go ahead.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me hold on. Let me zoom it up for you a little bit.
Oh, okay, I can see it clear now. Yeah.
Can you see it clear now? Because I can zoom it out for you.
Yeah, a little bit better. Yeah.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me get it a little bit bigger for you. Let me see if this does it.
You know, it's going to be interesting to see if Trump and the Senate appoint a second special counsel to investigate some of these Democrats that, some of these people that actually, authorized this, FISA warrant and everything.
Right. Well, we'll
Hey, to
see.
me, that's tax money well spent. If they're investigating some Democrats and establishment politicians, that's tax money well spent right there, I think. But,
All right.
but go ahead, Carl. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No. Okay. So I zoomed it up for you. So hopefully that'll see that should
Okay.
be a little bit better for you to look at. All right. So it
Yeah.
says based on, let's see, what we got here. Based on my discussion, this is Barr writing, and this is releasing the entire report and what he has to redact. Based on my discussions with the special counsel and my initial review, it is apparent that the report contains material that is or could be subject to Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure 6.6e, which imposes restrictions on the use and disclosure of information relating to matters occurring before a grand jury. Rule 60 generally limits disclosure of certain grand jury information in a criminal investigation and prosecution. Disclosure of 60 material beyond the strict limits set forth in the rule is a crime in certain circumstances. This restriction protects the integrity of the grand jury proceedings and ensures that the unique and invaluable investigative powers of a grand jury are used strictly for their intended criminal justice function. So, okay, in other words, Mueller had a grand jury sat. I mean, he wasn't just over there investigating, they're going to write a report. He actually sat a grand jury. Grand jury sit for 18 months.
Oh, I didn't know he had a grand jury.
Oh,
wow.
yeah. Grand juries sit for 18 months. If you get selected for a grand jury, you sit for 8. Now, you're not sitting there every single day. You're just on, okay, you get chosen, you say you're one of I think it's 32 people. I don't know what it is. It's a big number. It's a great group of people. And you have to, and they call you, they say, okay, you're sitting today, and just like on jury duty, you can't get fired because you have to go, do your grand jury duty. But they sit for 18 months.
Yeah.
Okay, and so Mueller had sat a grand jury on all this, and so a lot of the investigation was put before his grand jury. And so anything that was put in front of a grand jury, they can't disclose that because the whole purpose of grand jury is supposed to be confidential. The only time it's not confidential is when they produce a true bill, when the grand jury issues an indictment. Okay, so other than that, it's all confidential. So that he can't release anything that was in front of a grand jury. Then there was also, remember, the special counsel referred some stuff up to the Southern District of New York. U.S. Attorney's Office. With Cohen, they were prosecuting Cohen, but also some other stuff. Stuff that had nothing to do with the Russia probe investigation or even obstruction, just had to do with, maybe Trump's tax returns. Who the hell knows? Whatever. Okay.
Mueller was, it seemed.
So
it seems like he was working with
Well, no. If he came across information that it wasn't really his, like he prosecuted Manafort, his guys prosecuted Manafort, Weissman and his guys. Okay, they said, well, that's close enough.
Yeah.
We're gonna hold on to Manafort. I mean, nothing said he couldn't hold on to it, but there was things that he said like, hey, man, this really isn't my purview. This really isn't my thing. This particular part of the, I found some stuff in my investigation, like say Cohen stuff. Okay, I found stuff about Cohen, like with the cab company and his money laundering. That has nothing to do with me, and I don't have. It's not my job to do it. One, I could, but I don't want to waste my time on it. So I'm going to refer it up to you guys in the Southern, whatever jurisdiction it was. In Cohen's case, the Southern District of New York. But say it was some guy in Alabama, then it'd be like the Southern District of Alabama, U.S. Attorney's Office. So now that stuff, that's an ongoing investigation. I mean, I guarantee you, the U.S. attorney and the assistant U.S. attorneys working on the case out of the Southern District are like, hey, man, you can't release that shit. We're like right in the middle of investigating this. You can't just blow all the information out there and let the defendants know we're looking at them, one, and two, what we have. So, I mean, if you want to see a bunch of it, I was telling a friend of mine, I guarantee you over the weekend, like say Southern District, New York, or wherever else Mueller sent information to, they were scrambling to try to rush their cases through in case that Barr feels the political heat from the Democrats where he has to release everything and it blows their investigation. They're like, oh, shit, we better move fast because Barr may have to release this and, he may say, tough shit, I'm releasing it, you guys figure it out, and that's going to hurt their prosecution. I mean, prosecutors want to win cases. And screw politics on what Barr has to release because he doesn't want to catch shit from the Democrats. And that's what bothers me about Pelosi and Schumer. Pelosi's like, oh, release everything. What are they trying to hide? Well, Pelosi knows that they're not trying to hide anything. Pelosi knows, hey, look, you wanted all these guys investigated. There's a U.S. Attorney's Office in New York called in the Southern District of New York. They're investigating all this crap you want investigated. Do you want to blow their investigation? Do you want to blow their investigation? You want me to release? Hey, I'll release it all right now. And then when the U.S. attorneys say why, I'll point them to you, and they can go knock on your door and say, hey, you just blew our investigation, all these thousands of man hours we put into it. Now we can't even go forward because you're an idiot. So Barr's like has to be mindful of those two things. Anything in front of a grand jury that did not end up in an indictment, that's one, that's against the law. That's not even a policy, it's just against the law. And two, anything that he referred to the Southern District. Now, he could release the stuff that Mueller referred to the Southern District, just to fuck the guys in the Southern District. And now, if he did that, that would show partisanship on his part, because basically he'd be helping his friends out, if you will. He'd be helping the Trump people and stuff like that. So he goes, yeah, I'll release it, but it's going to help the Trump people. I just want you to know that ahead of time. You still want me to release it. And then that's what I would say. I'd go up to the Hill and say, look, there's stuff in there from the Southern, that the Southern District is investigating regarding Trump colleagues. If you want me to release that shit right now and blow their investigation, these guys get to walk, you tell me to do that and I'll do it. But you go on the record and you say, I don't care about the prosecution of anybody associated with Trump. I don't care if they walk. I want the information public. You go on the record, and if I was Barr, that's what I say when they call him up to the Hill. You go on the record and you say, screw the investigation, screw the man hours they put into this. I want the information public, and I don't give a shit about prosecuting anybody else. That's what I would say about Barr. Okay, that's what I would say.
Because Mueller had a lot of, it's funny because Mueller had because you could tell that Mueller handpicked his team that he knew were anti-Trumpers, basically, and the grand jury, I'm willing to bet you, were probably all anti-Trumpers as well, They would, obviously if they were able to indict Trump, but again, that would probably come if they had control of the Senate, because if you had a vast majority of Democrats in the House and Senate, then you could have had maybe close to 2/3 or 2/3 of the vote needed, but they probably would have had to find a way to get Pence out of there, before they could, basically remove Trump from office, because there was no way Pence was going to support something like that. I mean, even if the Democrats said, okay, we got you got 2/3 of the Senate. I mean, just in a hypothetical scenario, right? 2/3 of Democrats say we're going to, we support impeachment. Then obviously the House, and then they have to either find a way to get Pence on board or find a way to get him aside so they could go after Trump. And then we would have had a major constitutional crisis right there if something like that happened. But it just, this whole thing. I mean, this is probably going to go down as one of the biggest scandals in our country's history. It's funny because when I'm an old man and I read like a history book or they talk about something like this in the news, I'm going to say like, yeah, I lived through that, but this is for, huh?
No, I'm just laughing. Like, yeah, like I was there, and I saw this whole thing going down, and yeah, we thought we the intelligent people, the conservatives, we thought it was crazy, but everybody else thought it was normal. Yeah. Yeah,
because I guarantee, I'm almost willing to bet that grand jury was pre-selected, and and as we all know, Mueller had a hand-selected group of individuals working for him that were basically anti-Trumpers to begin with. I mean, they had all of this planned even probably before they started this investigation, or they just put together a bunch of stuff, to try and go after Trump. Maybe it wasn't put together well enough. I mean, who knows? But Mueller knew. It's funny because the minute the Democrats did not take the Senate, Mueller knew he had nothing. He had nothing.
Right.
But again, that's just how, I don't know, Carl. Sometimes I just don't get how. I mean, this stuff happens in a third world country. This stuff happens in countries where people are starving to death on a normal, everyday basis.
Right.
I mean,
and it happened to us. It happened right here, man. I mean, shit.
Yeah.
I mean, no. I mean, if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, and you told me like, hey, Carl, this was going to happen in the next 2 years, and you tell me like, like 3 years ago, you tell me this, I'd be like, man, douchebag, you smoking some really crazy crack. What's up with you? What I mean? This could never happen. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
But you're right.
One of my most famous one-liners is AOC smokes weed during joint military operations. That's like one of my most famous lines. I'm trying to come up with new material all the time, you know, but sometimes it gets hard, you know. But sometimes, because if you notice with me, I know how to turn a phrase. You know, I can turn a phrase, you know, and I can use synonyms and homonyms to make it sound like, you know. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the way I word and sentence structures when I tell my one-liners. But
no,
I
mean, you look, you use. I mean, you obviously, you know, taking some good English or know English really well. I mean, use good, you know, simile, good, you know, metaphors. I mean, you know, your structure is always really good. I mean, you say you don't have a lot of formal education, but you're obviously someone who reads a lot. You know, and that's how you get a like. Okay, when I was in college, you know, I felt like my vocabulary was kind of going down the toilet. I was a political science major, and I felt like I was losing my vocabulary. So I went to the English department and English college, and I said, hey, I need a good class for vocabulary because I feel like I'm losing my vocabulary. They said, oh, you got to read a lot, and so they assigned me to a senior level class where they read one novel a week. I mean, every week you read like a 350-page novel. That's a lot of reading. But that's how you increase your vocabulary, is by reading. That's the first, best, most wonderful way to do it. And so that's what I did. So you obviously are someone who reads a lot, you're well-read, you know, which is good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I, you know, it's interesting because, you know, I'm very, I don't, not to brag about myself, but I'm very street smart too. You know, it's like, some people find it interesting that I can have a conversation with politics and not really offend anybody. I mean, I don't think unless they're like really, really far left, you know, I've always been able to have some level of, you know, decent conversation with with somebody. But I think that stems from a few things. One, I'm half Latin, and I know that definitely has a part to play on why some of the people on the left are willing to have a conversation with me. Two, because I'm also open-minded, I also have left-leaning views. You know, that also helps.
Right.
And three, whenever I start a conversation with somebody, and I know I've talked about this before, but whenever I start a conversation with somebody, I always try to ask them, like, you know, about, do you like to shoot, you know, or how do you feel about certain issues? And I word things to where I'm trying to read the individual to see where they might stand on something. You know, and some of it's guesswork, but, you know, like I was telling you about, you know, some of these people that I'm thinking, in my opinion, are starting to get red-pilled is because, you know, I didn't hammer any kind of truth at them. I gave them the information. I didn't tell them anything that I haven't researched or anything that's not already out there on the internet. And they are starting to see a little bit why certain things aren't happening. Like, for example, I had somebody 2 days ago ask me, you know, similar. You know, you're right. I did find that strange that the Democrats passed a bill allowing illegal civil, but they're not doing anything about health care. Because I told him a while back, you know, you watch these Democrats not do anything with health care. They're just, you know, dangling it out there like a carrot and keep you, you know, saying, well, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And I told them, think about it. Why haven't they done it yet? You know, I don't sit here and say, well, this is a bad idea. I basically use what they're saying. I mean, of course, it's a bad idea. Don't get me wrong. I know that.
Right,
but
right.
I simply try to point out to them, why aren't they doing what you voted them to do? You know, just like that. And I told them, you know, where's the bill for education for all? You know, they're like, yeah, this is starting to make no sense. But they're not going to just drop their views right then and there. You have to kind of, you know, give them the information. You have to kind of, you know, and you're not really manipulating anybody. You're just getting them to open their eyes. I mean, there is a difference, you know. And I'm always, you know, and I always keep myself, you know, educated and, you know, knowing the facts, you know, so I can at least give them some guidance. Like one of my friends was saying the other day, like, you know, Cohen was saying that, you know, Trump isn't going to give up the presidency. And he says, you know, and you know, that'd be a problem. And I was telling him, yeah, you know, if, like, let's say, for example, and keep in mind, I'm just talking about how our, you know, constitutional republic works. And I told him, yeah, you know, if they have a president who defeats Trump and everything was legit, and Trump doesn't give up the presidency, then yeah, we have a constitutional crisis. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not lying to him, but I also told him too, but this isn't going to be a normal election, and you're going to watch them. They're especially going to watch these Democrats and all these candidates who threw their hat in the ring. They're going to be filing lawsuits against each other. They're going to be filing lawsuits against Trump. Some of them might even file joint lawsuits against Trump, And of course, it's going to wind up in the Supreme Court, and they're probably going to tie up the Supreme Court for months on end. But, hey, Trump is free to make America great again while they figure everything out. So, and then, you know what I'm saying? So it's
right.
like,
Well, you know what? Again, it's really. I mean, I don't feel sorry for the Democrats, but I feel their pain. Okay, you're running against a president who is overseeing a really robust economy. Okay. Think about think about the Republicans in '96. Okay, I mean that's why we nominated Bob Dole, because nobody really else wanted. I mean, Pat Buchanan wanted it. They weren't going to nominate Pat. They should have. That would have been my choice. In fact, that was my choice in '96. But so Clinton, the economy was firing. He was working with the Republicans, getting things done. Things were going good in the country. We weren't at war, and it was an uphill battle for Republicans to try to defeat Clinton for re-election in '96. So that's kind of where the Democrats are now, except a lot worse, because the economy is doing far better than it was in '96. Unemployment numbers are far better than they were in '96. I mean, the unemployment numbers are the lowest they've been since 1968. Well, sorry, a black unemployment lowest since 1972. That goes right past '96. Hispanic unemployment lowest since whenever they started counting it. I don't know. I think it was in '72. Disabled veteran. I mean, I didn't even know that was a category. Disabled veteran unemployment, the lowest it's ever been. I mean, women unemployment lowest since 1958. Which means pretty much lowest ever, because there weren't a lot of women entering the labor force in 1958 compared to what there are now. So the fact that it's so much lower now, with so many more women in the workforce, I mean, that's where the Democrats are. So they can't say, oh, we're going to make the economy better. People say, well, it's doing pretty good right now. The guy is in charge. Why should we change it and put you in there? We know what he's doing right now, and by 2020 it's going to be 3 full years, if not almost 3.5. And so why should we switch horses? The famous, here we go. Why switch horses in midstream? Ta-da! Exactly. So what are they going to run on? I mean, so they got to find something stupid. They got to be creative. I mean, look, you're running for president. Okay, I'm sorry. Politics is a tough business. You're giving lemons. You got to make lemonade or go home, and you got to go big or go home. Yeah. So I mean, I'm not going to get upset with these guys. I mean, I'm going to laugh at them. I'm going to say, well, that's stupid. That's a guy going nowhere. But I mean, this is high stakes shit. So they got to come up with something. Mueller. They thought Mueller was going to be their big thing. Well, that fizzled. Yeah. So now they got to try to salvage the Mueller stuff. But CNN was, they were looking at what people are concerned about immigration, health care, and Mueller's report was like at 0%. American people out there. So the people who now the only good thing about this election cycle is that these candidates are in the field. Hopefully, they're listening to what the American people are telling them. Now, Clinton was a bad listener, but Clinton never engaged. Okay. But hopefully, someone like, say, Kamala Harris, or I don't know, pick somebody, any of the other part. Hopefully, they're good at listening. So when they're out there, they're actually listening to the American people. Hopefully, they're not just going out there and just talking, but they're actually, catching some feedback, and they're actually getting some good feedback. So they say, oh, this is what. Remember after 2016, all the networks said we need to get out in the field and see what the American people care about. Well, they never did. But hopefully, with this election cycle, Warren and Sanders and Booker and all those people will listen to what the American people say is important to them, because the polling from CNN says immigration, health care, the economy, North Korea, those are the issues they're concerned about. Jobs, those are the things they care about. Wages, and hopefully when they get out there, they say, oh, all this Mueller shit, that's just shit we've been hearing in our bubble. Trump being crazy, Orange Man bad, that's just shit we've been hearing about in our bubble. But the actual people out there are concerned about these issues, and hopefully they start addressing them. Okay, but the only problem is for them is if they start addressing them, then they have to admit that, well, it's actually going pretty good right now. So there
Yeah,
you go.
yeah. I mean, because if because and see again, it all goes back to the stranglehold these globalists have on the Democrat Party. The globalists basically have the Democrats by the throat, won't let them breathe, won't let them run on anything except these far left platforms. That see, the globalists are betting that enough people on the left are going to register to overtake the the independents that voted for Trump, the conservatives that voted for Trump. And again, I've been seeing things online that say Trump may even have a much bigger turnout than what happened in 2016 and in 2018.
Well,
I mean,
that
and
could
they know that.
well, I think more than 2018 for sure, because that was a midterm, and see, the problem is when you're in the party in power, you're not upset about anything. You're not going out there to make a point because you're in power. So we have the White House,
Yeah.
and some people, unfortunately, not us. We go out and vote. I vote all the time. I don't care what the hell. I mean, it's too easy to vote in this country. If you can't find your way to the polling station in this country, you're an idiot. Okay, I mean, especially most states have early voting. We have. I'll just do a little side real quick. Like in Nevada, we have 2 full weeks, including weekends, of early voting.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's not like you got like in my county, we have one place you can go for early voting. Now, here's the deal: you don't go the first couple of days. Okay, it's 2 full weeks.
Yeah.
You don't have to go the first couple of days, and you don't go in the morning because older people like to get up early and go do stuff, right? So you wait. I generally go the second week, like the second or third day of the second week in the afternoon. And every time I've done that, since I've lived up here for the last 16 years, I walk in. I literally walk in, even in 2016, I didn't wait online. You walk in and you walk right back out. You walk in, there's nobody in front of you. You did it. You sign your name. And we're not a voter ID state here. The only time they check your ID is if your signature doesn't match. If you sign your name, your signature looks closed, they don't ask for ID. If it doesn't look closed, they ask for ID.
Yeah.
That's it. That's a state law. So if you don't vote in this country, and I'm sure other states have early voting too. I think Pennsylvania does not have early voting. I think you have to vote on election day, which seems idiotic. But if you can't vote in this country, you're an idiot. If you can't vote if you didn't vote in 2018, you're an idiot also. But I agree with you. I think in 2020 is going to get a higher turnout. Why? Because people are we were angry in 2016. We're really angry now, and also now you got a lot of people who are jumping on board the Trump train because hey, this is a cool train to be on. And so now you got more people. So I agree. I think his turnout is going to be higher in 2020 than it was, in fact, in 2016. I totally agree with you on that.
Oh yeah. And they're gonna. I think they'll have a better control. I mean, we cannot get complacent.
No.
We cannot take it for granted. That,
no.
I mean, we got to get out and vote. I mean,
yes.
I'm trying to. Like during the midterms, I probably drove 4 friends. And I had a buddy of mine that I had a buddy of mine that he even if he voted, I don't care how he voted, I still would have gotten him to the polls either way, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I got 4 friends to the polls to get, to vote. And I'm like, hey, look, no gas money, no nothing, let me know what time, I'll get the day off and I'll get you down there, because they had no transportation, So I'm like, people got to do this. People got to, give family members gas money, give them bus money, give them some kind of fare if they need it, or drive them down there yourself. Because I tell you what, that one vote could make the difference. It can make all the difference in the world.
Hey, again, okay, we don't have to go back that far. 2000, okay, one state with 562 votes decided the entire election for the country.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. I mean, so 562 votes separated George Bush from Al Gore, and for the entire country. So yes, one vote. I got an argument with a really good friend of mine back around like 2003, 4, and he was saying, "Well, what does my vote matter?" I went through the example of 2000. I said, "That's 562 people." Okay, that's how close it was. So yeah, every vote counts, and and I'm sorry if you live in a blue state like California, go out to the polls anyway, so we don't have to hear this bullshit about, well, they won the popular vote and we didn't. Look, the reason why they win it because a lot of people in blue states, I understand, I get it. You know that even if you vote for anything, congressperson, state assembly, state senate, governor, president, you're both not going anywhere because the governor's going to be Democrat, attorney general's going to be Democrat, the congressperson whose district you live in is going to be Democrat, the state assembly person, state senator is going to be Democrat. The state's going to go blue on the electoral college. It's going to go for the Democrat. But get out there and vote. If you're in a blue state, go out and vote in 2020. Okay, because it does count. Why? Because they use that. They say, "Oh, we won the popular vote." No, there's plenty of people. I guarantee that sit at home in California, Oregon, Washington, New York, New Jersey. Go out and vote.
Yeah.
Just run just for the sake of running the goddamn numbers up. Do that.
Oh yeah.
Do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think because people are more engaged now than they ever have been, and that's a good thing. To me, that's a good thing. I mean, I remember there was a time that I never cared about politics. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, about 5-6 years ago, that's when I started getting more involved, and I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, gee, I'm an idiot. I've been stupid this whole time. Not, but I know I'm not alone in that regard. You know what I'm saying? And, and sometimes they always say, yeah, better late than never. But you know what? It's something that people should start doing at an early age. They shouldn't make the same mistakes that people like me made. Learn about your country's history. Learn about why we have a constitution. Learn why there's a second First Amendment, why we have all these wonderful articles in our constitution. Learn the thing. Memorize the thing, I mean, because this, people think, yeah, it's a piece of paper, but this piece of paper is what gives us our freedoms and our rights, and if the far left had their way, they'd use it for toilet paper, I mean, it's yeah, I'm sorry. I don't mean that, it's just that, but it, I mean, speaking of toilet paper, I think that's the only CNN is going to sell. There's a reputation, New York Times, going into the business of selling toilet paper. You know what I'm saying? The stock value might increase them, but hey, But but people just think, these kids, they don't, it's like Mark Dice, right? And what was it, Caitlin Brenner? I think it was Caitlin Brenner, but from Infowars. But she did an interview, and she was doing it in St. Augustine, Florida, where they were talking about, where should all the kids go and teachers go if the electoral college shuts down? And maybe only 3 of them knew that she was that they were trying to pull her leg because they were conservative students, And the fact that these students didn't know anything about the electoral college is worrisome, I mean,
I mean, they don't teach that in school anymore. They don't. And people say, "Oh, we got to get rid of the electoral college." Well, the kids that are saying that don't know anything about it and don't know the history behind it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's really scary.
Yeah. You know what's funny, Carl? And this is how it's funny because I've done this a couple of times. And some of my comments, when some of these trolls, like bash me in comments, right, or they try to use my own humor against me, right? I'll go back in there, I'll literally go back in there, reply to them, and I'll go, yeah, this guy's a moron, calling myself a moron. I'll go, yeah, this guy's a moron. Anybody with the name of the great douchebag is an idiot. I don't know. And I'll get 7 or 8 likes, and then I'll finally get a response, from somebody who said, why would you comment on your own comment? But see, that goes to show you that people don't pay attention. All those likes that I got bashing myself goes to show that people just, they don't even look at who, reads the title of the author who writes the comment,
Right.
I mean, it just,
well, it's, I tell you, I mean, the education these kids are getting now, again, when the average grade, when I went to college, like, okay, I'll give you, I'm not sure if I ever told you this, but like, I had somebody in my office once, and they had a degree like in, biology or something. And they looked up at my degree, and they saw from University of California, Riverside, it said degree in, it was a Bachelor of Arts, okay? They said, oh, you took, and this is somebody just recently, said, oh, you took the easy way out. Like, what are you talking about? You go, oh, yeah, Bachelor of Arts, like liberal arts degree. And I go, well, it might be easy now, but when I took it, it sure as shit wasn't easy. I mean, we had to take, we took some hard classes. I mean, I took upper level English, upper level history, upper level political science classes, some real tough shit. I mean, we had to read a lot. You had to do a lot of writing. I mean, this stuff was nasty. But now the average grade in college is an A. Now, not everybody is earning an A, obviously, because that doesn't make any sense. But the professors don't want to catch any shit. So they don't want to give the transgender, bisexual, omnisexual student, a C because they're going to get called all kinds of names. Or if the person's someone else of another protected, minority race, they don't want to get yelled at like at Evergreen College when professor, gave out grades and you did that because you're a racist. And this is like that's Weinstein. That was Brett Weinstein, a big liberal guy. And so professors like, you know what? I'm not putting up with this shit. I'm not going to hear this shit. I'm not going to have to listen to it. I got my my buddy Clay is calling from 509. All right, yeah, just let him. I'll just tell him. I'll call him back. Let's see. Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Some guy was calling in. I don't know who it is. So I put in the chat, hey, is somebody calling in from area code 509? So I'm going to write back to this guy. Just say, tell him. Let's see.
Bishop Don Cornelius. I don't think I've seen him or him or her in the chat.
Call him back.
Oh, him. I'm sorry. Sorry, Bishop. My bad. I'm sorry. I don't have my glasses on. I'm so nearsighted. I'm so nearsighted without my glasses. I can't. Sorry, Bishop. My bad.
At BIS. There you go. Boom. There you go. So yeah. I just wrote. Tell him I'll call him back in a few. Because see, I don't have a switchboard. So a lot of people will just call in thinking I have a switchboard or something. I don't have a switchboard, but on Skype I can see calls coming in while we're on the phone. But you can't hear them because I got the ringer turned all the way down. Because remember that one night the ringer was on. Remember that one night, and that one guy that one troll kept blasting it through. Remember? And so I figured, okay, I fixed that problem. So, so the phone will be ringing. I can see it. It's right. I have it up on a arm, like one of those desk arms, and I got it attached to this little device. And so the phone sits right in front of me, so I can see who's calling in, who's not calling in, and stuff like that. But yeah, I just don't have I don't have a switchboard that somebody answers or they're on hold or something like that, and they're like in a queue where like they can hear what's going on. Like who has that? I forgot. Somebody has that.
Sure
like Uber guy. If you call into his show, he has there's a service he uses when you call in and then you enter like a code number, and then it says, okay, stand by. You're like third in line, and you can hear the show while you're on hold. And then, like, he gets to you next in line. I was thinking about doing something like that because the big thing you want to do the big thing you want to do something like that is you want to make sure they can hear the show while they're on hold. You don't want to have to most people just use like one device, like a phone. They use a phone to watch the show and also to call in. So if they're on hold, you want to be able to enjoy the show, and also be able to keep up on the conversation. So when they get on, they can then comment on what was going on, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, I was thinking about doing something like that, using Uber guys thing. I like that. I don't, I'm not, I don't get 10,000 calls a night, so it's not like, I have to constantly do something like that. But, maybe in the future, I might subscribe to a service like that. It doesn't look very expensive either. I think I looked into a couple of services. It was like 3 cents here, 3 cents there. I mean, it's that kind of how much you use, how much you don't use kind of thing. So, I may do something like that.
Yeah.
But because right now I got I got the tech stuff on the microphones, the mixer board. I got different devices, cloud lifter devices to be able to take stuff coming out of the laptop that goes, and lift it up, bring it into the mixer board where it sounds good. So I'm all teched up on that. I got 2 computers going at the same time, 2 monitors I'm looking at. So I'm all teched up there. So maybe the next thing will be like, using now check this out. Like I did remember last week, I think it was last weekend, not this weekend, but last weekend I did that chili cook-off event. You called in on? Yeah. Well, the problem I had with that, if you notice on the interviews, the lighting wasn't really good. Like it was a sunlight on the guys outside that I was interviewing. It was really bad, and even my lighting inside wasn't good. And I had a lot of lights inside, but the sides of the booth, the canopy, are vinyl, so they don't really reflect light real well. Well, anyway, National
Yeah.
Association of Broadcasters doing their big convention in Vegas. It's like huge, right?
Mhm.
In fact, they take up the
Yeah.
entire convention center. That's how big it. I mean, it's a huge convention center. They use up every single room, like 2 floors, everything. So anyway, when I'm going to a class, not on the day of the convention, but before the convention, I'm doing a class on outdoor, like live shows. You know how to do outdoor live shows, which includes lighting and sound and stuff. So I'm doing a class like that before April 8th is National Association of Broadcasters. That's the convention, April 8th through the 11th. But the week before, there's some like hands-on people coming in Vegas where you go down there and you go to a studio and they're actually showing you how to do outdoor lighting and stuff like that. So I'm doing that class, and so I can, because I want to do more. I'm going to be doing more outdoor events because I've been picking up a lot of people, a lot of subs from my local community too. So I put it.
I know your channel's growing. Yeah.
Yeah, I put an ad in the newspaper, a full page ad. I want to do an event this weekend, but the guy I want to do the event with is from like California, and he moved here, and he's a liberal, and he'd rather sacrifice full page advertising paid for by me to help him because he doesn't want me there with my Trump hat and stuff. So I know, stupid, stupid, just really dumb. So.
You know what's funny? I go into the chats like sometimes I'll go in the chats and I do my little "what's up," and then people like waiting for your one-liners to make fun of AOC. But sometimes I think my one-liners get distracting because but I never get kicked off. Like there's one YouTuber, she Sweet Lee, I think Lee Li, if I'm saying her name right, but she does every once in a while when I try to catch her live stream, she's like, I go, can I make fun of AOC and all that? And they go, it's all good, and then they'll put the LOL laugh out loud, and there I am, but I try to engage in the community as well. I don't just go there to do one-liners. I go in to engage in the communities, but I think sometimes some people come on these shows just to see my one-liners, and I'm like, I try not to distract from what the person is talking about, so I gotta tone down on the one-liners, you know what I mean? But,
no, I like your one-liners. I like when you put I like when you put those in the chat. I mean, it's entertaining. I'll be I'll be covering the news and it's kind of sober, some of the stuff, and and then then I read one of your things. It's like, oh, that's funny. Oh, hey, Laura went to the. Let's see. Yeah,
Bible. What was it?
National Association of Broadcasters.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I tell you, Carl, things are starting to look up. And the interesting thing too is that Trump has actually kind of shown us as people that we have to do things for ourselves. Like if you notice, for example, like with Colfage's thing, right?
Wait, hold on. What was the last set of words you just said? The what thing? You said Trump is teaching us to be independent.
Oh, no. The Trump, if anything, if one thing that Trump getting elected has done is that, he's showing that, we have to do things for ourselves as well, and I'm not just talking about day-to-day living. We have to, help each other. We have to educate each other. We have to, show each other why, basically why our country is the way it is, what makes us a great country.
Right. We have to remind each other of our history, of how we got here. I was having a conversation the other night with Paula C. She called in. It was late too. It was after midnight by the time we were talking. It was pretty close to 1 o'clock. I think it was around 1 o'clock actually, and we were talking about that. It's like the history of our country. I mean, we didn't just get here by accident. I mean, this was a lot of thought went into this, and the fact that we're a republic instead of a straight-on democracy, and which means things don't move so fast, and you have to elect representatives to go vote on your behalf, and maybe they don't always vote in the way you want them to, but I mean, and the electoral college and how power is separated among the states and different regions of the country, so one region doesn't feel slighted by another region, like you don't have a tyranny of the majority. 51% of the people tell the other 49% of people what to do all the time, and you don't have any say. You can never change it. Versus the other 49% in this country know hey, if we all get together, we could actually elect a president, to wit Donald Trump, and we grab some people from the other, we grab a few more percentage points, we get our voices heard. And yeah, like we see the electoral college map, after the election, it's always, red in the center, blue on the outside. And you don't want the red in the center controlling the blue on the outside, and you don't want the blue on the outside controlling the red in the center. So it's a good combination. I mean, it's worked for 230 years, and these kids are like, oh, let's get rid of that. It's like, well, it's worked for 230 years. It's like your system is okay. You can tell me, you can guarantee me right now that if we get rid of the electoral college, whatever system takes over, popular vote is going to work for the next 230 years. You can tell me that? Really, you got a great crystal ball there in front of you. Whereas I can point to the last 230 years and say, hey, look, we're still here, and we're not just surviving, we're thriving under our system of government. So before you go about willy-nilly wanting to change something that isn't broke, that we're thriving under, you better damn well be able to guarantee me that this is going to work better for the next 230 years than what we got right now. And there's nobody can tell you that. Because if they can, they're full of shit. They're full of shit. They think they can tell you that.
Because, we can't, Amy D says free
shit.
Oh.
Free shit.
Yeah, free shit.
There you go.
Somebody was saying today actually that there's another migrant caravan coming, and and we cannot absorb all these people when we got problems of our own.
We're releasing 1,000. We're releasing 1,000 migrant family members per day. ICE is releasing 1,000 migrant family members per day. That's 365,000 per year, plus all the other illegals that don't get caught that make it in, that are just don't get released because they just make it across illegally.
I thought the Supreme Court sided with Trump on that they could deport people that were detained, didn't they? They just ruled
not this whole family member shit. Border Patrol. You can probably ask Amy about this. Amy knows because she knows all this shit backwards and forwards. But yeah, I mean, Border Patrol is turning them over to ICE, and ICE is like releasing them. And there's a little infighting right now between ICE and Border Patrol as far as who has to do the releasing, who wants to get catch and release, who wants to be part of the catch, who wants to be part of the release. I'm sure Amy knows a lot more about that than either of us do. But yeah, I mean, no, I covered that story the other night, a Washington Times story. ICE told them no, we're about approximately 1,000 per day. We're releasing migrant family members. So 1,000 not migrant families, but 1,000 migrant family members per day, every day, right now. Yeah. And then then you get this caravan, another 15,000. They make it across and yell asylum. They're in too, and there you go. So, yay Democrats, yay destroy our country.
Well, they're trying. What they're trying to do is they're trying to mess with the Electoral College, because obviously the more people in each state, the more voters electorates they get. But if they don't, if ICE, because it makes it such a, obviously ICE does not have an easy job. We all know this. Neither does Border Patrol. But I'm sure that I'm hopefully they keep tabs on these people and they're catching them and deporting them. I mean, because it just these from what I understand. Mexico, I think, is actually trying to stop the caravans, if I'm not mistaken. I think, didn't they put pressure on Mexico to try and stop these caravans? Because I know Tijuana's about had it with them.
Yeah, but you know what, though? They're letting them through.
Yeah, that's true. Well, because they're sitting there gassing them and they can't push them back. But if they wanted to, they could have had guns with rubber bullets on them. And, okay, yeah, you're hurting people, but you're not...
Look, the Mexicans. Let's be honest. These people, when they get there, they're not staying in Mexico. And the Mexicans, so they give them like a visa. What they used to do before all this was public, routinely they would give these people visas that lasted, I think, for 13 days. In other words, you had a visa that was good for 13 days. Well, guess what 13 days was? Enough time to get from the border with Honduras, or not Honduras, Guatemala, to the border with the United States. So they say, okay, you got 13 days to get through our country and jump the fence, get into the United States. But if you're still here after 13 days, then we'll deport your ass. Okay? So the Mexicans always just use their place as a highway to let people through, and then of course it's good for the Mexicans because the cartels are paying off the government officials, and when those people get to the border, guess who they got to pay to get across? The cartels. All the coyotes who get them across. I mean, look, the cartels control that border area. So I mean, I'm sorry, if you're a coyote, you're working for the cartel. Period. I mean, you pay a coyote, you're paying the cartel. So all these people like, yay, we're in favor of people coming across. These people aren't. Look, first of all, these people aren't poor. To pay a coyote, what's it like? $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $6,000 U.S. dollars to get across. So obviously, wherever they are right now, they live in a situation where they're able to save that kind of money up. Most Americans don't have $6,000, $12,000 sitting in a bank account. Most Americans don't have $6,000, $12,000 cash liquid. They just don't. Most people live like month to month. So, and these people are somehow they're doing well enough in whatever country they're in to save up $6,000, like that woman from was it El Salvador? It might have been El Salvador. The woman from El Salvador who split with her kid, the kid that was on the picture of Time magazine, and the husband she said, "Well, I didn't know she was leaving. She just took off." And he had a good job. He was like a boat, not a boat captain. The guys who pilot boat captain. Those are. Excuse me a second. Those are good paying jobs because those guys have a dangerous job. They got to make sure that boat gets in without going up against the reefs or the rocks or whatever. So she was able to save up enough money for her and her kid. It cost, I don't know, it was like $8,000 cash. And so she took the money out of the account, his money, well, their money, and took the daughter and split. He didn't know where she went. He thought they got kidnapped or something. And next thing you know, he sees his wife and daughter on TV, and he sees his daughter on the picture of Time magazine. And then, of course, Time made it sound like, oh, Trump's keeping this poor little kid out of the country. And it turns out it wasn't a poor little kid. It was this guy's daughter who was really pissed off that his wife stole their kid and went up north. Left, and they had other kids, left the other kids behind and just split. So I mean, these people have money, so they're not poor and destitute. So the point being is that, if you're able to save that kind of money up, well, maybe you should just stay where the hell you are. and then while you're there, use some of that money to march in the streets and whatever and protest against your government and make your government a better place instead of coming to our country and protesting our government, which you have no business protesting because you shouldn't be here to begin with.
In the Florida Keys, when people come from Cuba, because the Florida Keys is riddled with mangoes. I mean, those mangroves. Those mangroves have a history going back to like 1800s. I mean, they're used even to this day by smugglers, people bringing people over from Cuba, and I think Obama ended the wet foot, dry foot policy. So if they come and they touch land, I still think they can be sent back. I don't know. I haven't really followed that in a long time, but, they I don't know. I mean, obviously, the 90-mile stretch is shark-infested waters.
Right.
I mean, when people just get on a rowboat, I mean, obviously they've studied the currents, they've studied, the wind, what time is best, because I mean, obviously they're, we all know they're risking their lives to get over here, but, if you're desperate enough to just, I mean, if you're going to get on a boat, at least have some kind of means to, at least an oar or something, to help you get across the ocean, not just throw throw a boat, but a lot of times they get picked up by Coast Guard, they give them food, water, and they send them back. But I don't know what the situation in Cuba's like now because, I mean, I think Raul kind of eased up a little bit. I mean, he's, don't get me wrong, the guy's still evil.
Yeah.
But I think he's kind of made things a little bit better for people to live,
Well, I mean, look. I mean, Raul, it's a natural evolution of what's going on around the world, and at some point, I mean, they're allowing more of these little like restaurants, and it's kind of like a free market kind of thing. But at some point, I don't know. Maybe he passes away, and then the new guy comes in and starts, doing some kind of like a version of Glasnost or Perestroika. I don't know. And they start opening up, and the main thing they got to do is open up the free markets. If they can make a free market economy, there's no reason why those people couldn't be doing really, really well. I mean, I mean, then you can have the tourism industry open up, and then you can have, there's all kinds of business concerns down there as far as sugar cane and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of these people
Yeah.
can be making a lot of money and doing really
Yeah.
well
There's
for
a lot
themselves.
of. Yeah.
There's a lot of
Mhm.
potential in Cuba. There just always has
Yeah.
been.
Yeah. Well, it's like when they found oil off the coast. Where was it? Was it the northern part of Cuba or the southern part of Cuba where they found oil? And there were all those companies that were, jockeying for contracts to go out there and drill. I don't know who got the contracts, but I know that, I mean, obviously the Cuban government's going to make a lot of money off that, but then they got to turn around and redistribute the wealth to the people. But I don't know. I don't, you don't really, I didn't really follow up much on who got the contracts. I think was it Exxon was down there, I think, and
Yeah,
I
I
know
don't
there was
know.
quite a few American companies and Chinese companies were trying to get contracts out there, but the thing too is that what's interesting, and I was taken back to something somebody said. I think it was Martin Brodell who said this, another YouTube commentator. But he was saying like the Rothschilds, their mother said like if my sons wanted peace, there would be peace. But obviously these powerful globalists don't want peace in the world. They want chaos.
Right.
For whatever reason. It's interesting because the human mind, right? And if you watch, it's interesting because if you watch the Batman, what was it, the one with the Heath Ledger Joker? Even if you watch that from start to finish, I mean, obviously Batman and Joker aren't real, but the psychosis of the Joker is very real. You
Right.
got people who don't. I mean, it's like the psychoticness of the Joker is very real. I mean, these globalists probably thrive. They get like some kind of a mental, it's like a feeling of good, to see that there's so much chaos in the world. It's like, I imagine it's like drugs for them. That they're not high, they don't get their fix unless there's chaos somewhere in the world. I mean, that's a pretty scary mentality for someone, in powerful positions to have that kind of a mentality. Obviously,
Yeah, it
I
is.
mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, but one of the things that made the Joker so popular is that there is no motive for what he does. The motive is he just likes misery and pain.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the 1989 Batman, the Joker, same thing, same psychosis. The end where Batman takes those balloons and gets them out of the city, right? In that jet of his.
Right.
What was the Joker didn't have a reason for what he was doing. He was just doing it because, bringing pain and misery is how he got his rocks off.
Yeah. Well, there are people like that, and unfortunately, we see them like the serial killers and shit. They go to prison, but
Mm-hmm.
the real ones you got to worry about are the ones who are in power, who enjoy that, who enjoy seeing people suffer, and those people don't go to prison. Those people just become
Yeah.
powerful and rich. Yeah, I totally
Yeah.
agree with you.
I mean,
Totally agree with you.
yeah.
But I tell you what, man.
The funny thing
I tell you what, though, man. Let me
huh?
let you go because I'm gonna cover a couple of news stories here, and then maybe if somebody
Oh
else wants to,
yes.
somebody
I'm
else wants
sorry,
to call.
Carl.
Oh no, no.
But hey, it's always great.
no.
It's always great to talk to you.
Yeah, yeah. Don't be sorry. No, it's great conversation. It's just I'm gonna go ahead and cover a couple of stories here real quick, and then if anybody else wants to call in, or if somebody wants to use the VMix video link. The one that Nonia's been on, and of course we had a little technical difficulty the other night, but I've since fixed that. But if anyone wants to use the VMix video link where you can appear, wait, hold on, I'm going to stay on the phone for a second. I'm going to do an advertisement for myself real quick here. Let's see.
I'd definitely encourage Lee to call in if he's still here. I haven't seen him. I don't know if he's still in the chat or not.
No,
Imagination YouTube.
Yeah, I think Imagination. I was able to get over to. For what's that for? What wasn't the name of the person for something? I subbed to her site for information.
Oh, forbidden information.
Yeah, forbidden information.
Oh,
yeah,
okay, cool.
yeah. I just subbed over to her site. But
cool. Thank you. And don't forget to check out Chrissy Ann as well. She's it's interesting, Carl. She does a lot of live streams. She's very knowledgeable. You might even be able to do something like a dual live show with her. If you love Axe. If you love Axel's personality, you'll love Chrissy Ann's personality. I would definitely encourage Lilo, Tanya Seals, Laura Sanders, anybody else in the chat. Subscribe to Chrissy Ann, Kirsiann. I mean, you know, you'd love. I mean, if you guys love Axe, you'd love her. She's got a great personality. I mean, she's hysterical. Yeah. But,
all right, man. Okay, dude. I'll talk to you later, and have a good one.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right.
And
bye-bye.
I'll see you back in the chat.
Oh, definitely.
All
right.
All right.
And that was a great douchebag. And again, if anybody wants to appear on a live video link, you'll be just like this. And right here will be, let's see. And actually here you'd have your, let me see, I'll even type this in. Let's see here. Let's see. Ba-ba. All right. And this would be you right there. And right above you would be your username. So if anybody wants to appear on a live vMix video call, then you just need to put in the chat that you're sending me an email and send the email to the email address listed there, ca2jogger@gmail.com. I send you a link. You push on said link, and then you, with your phone, as long as you have Google or Firefox, you can do it. Push on said link, type in your username, you know, ding, 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 and then hit join call. You show up in a camera. You see me on a camera, and then you appear right there, side by side. I'll look over there. See? Right over there, side by side with me, and you're talking to millions and millions and millions of viewers watching YouTube, and you get to have your point across, and you get to have a conversation or an interview or a debate with me on any of the issues. So if you want to appear by a live vMix video call, and it's really good technology, works really good, and it's really simple to use. Again, you send me an email, I send you a link, you push on said link, you type in your username, you hit join call, and the rest I take care of. And then you appear right there, right next to me, side by side, just like they do on Fox News and the other lamestream network stations, and you're right there. So, hey, that option is available, and yeah, man, it's totally cool. So, you could do that, or of course you can just call in, and the call-in number is 775-273-8970. And so there you go. So let me take that off. There you go. And there's me again. Hey, but so if you're interested, there it is. But anyway, let's go get to some of the stories we were looking at here. So let's get to the Ocasio Cortez story. That's always a fun one. And it's cut across. And there you go. And let's see. Probably need to take that down so we can see the story. But, well, probably not. All right. So the Democrats claim victory even after Ocasio-Cortez's Green New Deal loses big in the Senate. And let's see what's going on. Some of the Washington Times. Hey, Washington Times. And see, there's me, Carl. Why? Because I'm a subscriber to the Washington Times, which everybody should be a subscriber to the Washington Times. And they make it very simple to put their stories up on YouTube. So thank you very much. But anyway, so here's the story. By Stephen Dinan of the Washington Times. He writes, excuse me, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's Green New Deal withered in the heat of the Senate on Tuesday as Republicans delivered a decisive spanking. I like how you use that word. Lalo, he called it spanking. Decisive spanking to liberal activists' plan to reshape American society. Not a single senator was willing to back I added the willing part. The freshman congresswoman's legislation, which was defeated in a 57-0 filibuster. 43 Democrats refused to take a stand and voted present. Wimps, wimps, wimps. They're on the campaign trail. Kamala Harris and Booker and Warren all said they're in favor of the Green New Deal, the Ocasio Cortez's Green New Deal plan. Well, here's your chance to vote on it and say, show the American people you're in favor of it. So now tomorrow, when you're on the campaign trail, go explain to somebody when they ask you, if you allow somebody to ask you, well, you said you were in favor of her Green New Deal. How come you vote yes on it? Well, we got to make some changes. Oh, there's something wrong with it? Yeah, go ahead. Try that one out. Republicans said the vote was a catastrophic blow to one of the hottest liberal policy ideas to hit Washington in years. The bill called for an upheaval in American energy, an overhaul of the construction sector, and history's largest expansion of the social safety net. The American people will see, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Kentucky Republican, said ahead of the vote, they'll see which senators are so fully committed to the radical left-wing ideology that they can't even vote no on self-inflicted economic ruin that would take a sledgehammer to America's middle class. The vote left Democrats scrambling for footing. God, Mitch McConnell can be a dick sometimes, and I like it. The vote left Democrats scrambling for footing. They called Mitch McConnell's move to force a vote a sham, complained that they had been ambushed. No, he's been talking about this for like 2-3 weeks now. Complained that they had been ambushed and said they never considered Ms. Ocasio-Cortez's proposal to be a viable option. Oh, really? You didn't tell her that? Nobody on the campaign trail said, oh, hey, this thing is kind of like, screwed up. I didn't hear anybody saying that. They said, oh, we're in favor of this, her proposal. We're for it. That's what they said. Even Senator Edward Markey, the Massachusetts Democrat who wrote the Green New Deal with Ms. Ocasio-Cortez, didn't vote for it. The guy who sponsored the bill in the Senate, his own bill that he walked up to the Senate clerk and handed and said, put a file stamp on this, baby. This is my bill. File this thing. Even he didn't vote for it. And he signed his name to it. Okay, you don't sign your name to it because you're trying to get in somebody's pants. Okay, that's why you don't sign your name to a bill and say, "Oh, Ocasio-Cortez," trying to get in her pants. It's not going to get you anywhere. You put your name on that bill, and you couldn't even vote for your own bill, which means you didn't believe in it. And you say, "Well, it needed changes." Well, before you sign your name to a bill, you should have made those changes. But no, you don't want to piss her off because she might not go to bed with you that night. Oh, Ocasio, yeah, this looks perfect. I want to change the thing. Can we have sex? That's their Senator Markey. If I was his wife, I'd be like furious. Be like, hey, what's going on with you and that bitch over there? Oh, nothing, honey. Well, why'd you sign your name to a bill that you didn't even vote for? I thought, divorce. Okay? I mean, the guy's an idiot. Who the hell signs his name to a bill, puts it in front of the Senate, files it with the clerk of the Senate, and then doesn't even vote in favor of his own bill? I mean, the guy's an idiot. I mean, the guy is just an idiot. I've never seen that happen in my lifetime. Okay, I've been following politics for like 7 or 8. I've never seen anybody sign their name to a bill, file it with the clerk of the Senate, and then not vote for it themselves. I have never seen that before. It might be the first time in history that you didn't vote for your own bill. I don't care if it came from the House. He put his name on it and filed it with the Senate. She can't file a bill in the Senate. Only a senator can, and he did it. And if he didn't like it, he should have gone there and said, hey, I'm not filing this until we make these changes. Some of the stuff is outrageous. But no, he did it. So there you go. Anyway, instead he joined most... Hold on a sec. Okay, instead he joined most fellow Democrats in registering as present. Present. That's it. You can vote present, To ordinary people, this is Markey, an idiot. To ordinary people, climate change is not politics. It is life and death. Well, then you should have voted for it. Mr. Markey said, the Green New Deal is not just a resolution, it's a revolution. Oh, God, this guy's he definitely have a midlife crisis. It's a revolution that has begun in this country. Yet 4 members of the Democratic caucus who joined the Republicans' filibuster punctured claims a sham. Manchin of West Virginia, Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia, Senator Doug Jones of Alabama, Senator Kirsten Sinema of Arizona, Yeah, well, she just got elected. She's not voting for something stupid like this. As well as Senator Angus King of Maine, an independent who caucused with the Democrats, voted against the plan. Top Democrats still insisted they had won. Yes, of course. Minority Leader Charles Schumer, New York Democrats, said they used the vote to force Republicans to answer questions about whether they believe in global warming, whether they believe humans are responsible. We Democrats are on the offense, he said. We're feeling really good about where we're moving. There's another guy having a midlife crisis. It's like what's up with the old men in the Democratic Party? They're all having midlife crises? Republicans counter that they have acknowledged global warming and have said humans are contributing to it. Okay. Where they disagree is on the need for Ms. Ocasio-Cortez's plan, which in 16 pages of legislative language sets a goal within 10 years of zero greenhouse gas emissions, guaranteeing a job for every American, expanding government support for college and health care, requiring every building to be retrofitted for energy and water efficiency, and imposing those standards on all new construction. Backers say it's a bold vision, so bold, so fresh, as Ben Shapiro would say, so fresh, fresh face. Backers say it's a bold vision that can produce millions of clean energy jobs, boost the U.S. on the world stage, and possibly save the planet. Yes, climate change is going to kill the planet. Are these people insane? Republicans and some Democrats mocked it as fantasy. Even House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, the senior Democrat in Congress, has referred to the plan as the Green Dream. No official price tag exists, but one conservative group said it could sock taxpayers in the economy with as much as $93 trillion over the next 10 years. I heard numbers Rand Paul was saying today, anywhere between 50 and 90 trillion. Trillion. Okay. Republicans profess to be stunned by the vote. Every one of the 6 senators running for the Democratic presidential nod in 2020 is a co-sponsor of Ms. Ocasio-Cortez's plan. Yeah, they all co-sponsored it in the Senate. He filed it, Markey. All the people in the Senate, all the Democrats in the Senate running for president co-sponsored it, signed off on it, yet none of them voted in favor of it. Unbelievable, but none of them voted for the legislation. I'm not sure, and McConnell saying this, I'm glad he agreed. I just said it a few seconds ago. McConnell just said it now. Well, he said it before, but it's written that he says this. I'm not sure I've ever seen the self-professed supporters of a piece of legislation more angry or irritated that they would actually have to vote on it, McConnell said. Yeah, I mean, that's hilarious. It's like, you're a terrible person, Mitch McConnell, making us vote on our own legislation that we co-sponsored that we filed with the Senate. They're generally upset when they're Democrats, right? And the Republicans are in power. So a lot of times Republicans will hold off on getting one of their bills to the floor because they don't want it voted on. You know, they don't want to even debate it. They'll say, no, we're not going to put it on the floor. The Democrats, oh, you evil Republicans. And I guarantee you they're planning on saying that on the campaign trail, saying, oh, we got this great bill, but, Mitch McConnell won't put it on the floor for a vote. I wish he would because, I'd vote in favor of it. Well, they can't say that now because he said, okay, here it's on the floor. Now, oh, how dare you put it on the floor? Wait, you signed off on this bill. Why'd you sign it if you don't want me to have a vote on it? So I'm going to repeat what McConnell said one more time. This is McConnell. I'm not sure I've ever seen the self-professed supporters of a piece of legislation more angry or irritated that they would actually have to vote on it. Senator Kamala Harris of California, this was disappointing for me because I'm fooled. I thought this woman had half a brain, but she actually signed off on this Green New Deal and then, of course, votes against it. Senator Kamala Harris of California, one of the presidential hopefuls, said she is proud to sponsor the Green New Deal, but she objected to Republicans' political stunts. How is it a political stunt to put your bill, the one you co-sponsored, on the floor for a vote? If anything, it's a stunt to keep it off the floor for a vote. It's not a stunt to say, here, vote on it. Here's your bill. You can vote on it. Hey, maybe some Republicans will join you. Maybe if you all vote for it, you can find 6 or 7 Republicans to join you, and it'll pass. And then it'll go to the House. And, of course, Pelosi doesn't want it because she doesn't want her members falling for the same bullshit. That's why Pelosi, if you notice, Pelosi's not putting it on the floor in the House because her members are like, oh, shit, don't put that on the floor. We can't vote for that. That's crazy. Anyway, combating this crisis, here we go, she says. Combating this crisis first requires the Republican majority to stop denying science and finally admit that climate change is real and humans are the dominant cause. That is so not true. Then, she goes on to say, then we can get serious about taking action to tackle the climate crisis at the scale of the problem. Well, that statement doesn't make any sense. Okay, So here we go. Combating the crisis first requires Republican majority to stop denying science. So what she's saying is they're denying science so they won't pass any legislation to address climate change. Well, here you go. Here's your bill. You signed off on it, Ms. Harris. And McConnell says, okay, enough climate change denial. Here's your bill. Let's vote on it. And then, oh, that's a stunt. It's like, well, whether they deny science or not, they gave you your chance. It was your big chance, lady. It was your big chance. Here's another idiot. I guess I was fooled by her. She's an idiot. I guess she did sleep her way to the top. Who knows? I mean, you talk to, Willie Brown says, yeah, man, I was doing her. Well, why was she doing some old man that's old enough to be her father? Obviously because she wanted his political power and his donors and everything else. So maybe that's how she got to the top. Maybe she's not very bright. It sounds like it. I mean, the more I hear her speak, the less impressed I am by her, to be honest with you. So combating this crisis first requires Republican majority to stop denying science and finally admit that climate change is real. Okay, fine. Here's your bill. Vote on it. Anyway, the sham claims fell short for some Democrats, though. Mr. Manchin, one of 4 Democrats who voted against the proposal, called the Green New Deal an aspirational document, said he was happy it had started a debate, but he added that it falls short of reality. I think we need to focus on real solutions that recognize the role fossil fuels will continue to play, said Mr. Manchin, who represents a major coal and natural gas state. The Green New Deal is likely to fare only a little better in the House. Ms. Pelosi has said the bill would go through the committee process like every other piece of legislation, signaling that is not likely to get an independent vote. There's no way. There's no way she's going to put that on the floor. Her members would kill her. Are you kidding? Everybody in the House, they're only up every. House members only have 2-year terms. So every member of the House is up for re-election in 2020. And these guys are like, oh no. I mean, look, we can. You look. You have to give this woman lip service. That's fine, but don't put my ass on the line, and I got to vote in favor of this, and then tell my constituents that this is a good thing when they start questioning me, or I got to vote against it, and then I got to catch the crazy left constituents in my district tell me why I voted against it. There's no way. No, I'm going to put it through the committee process. Means she's going to bury it in the committee. It's going to get stuck there, and it's never going to hit the floor. I guarantee you Pelosi will not let this hit the floor before 2020. Unless it totally gets changed. Then you can have Ocasio Cortez screaming about all the changes. She's like a little kid. Yeah, what are you doing to my bill? What are you doing to my bill? It'll be like a reality ratchet TV show or something. So, anyway, so she's not gonna let it get to the floor for a vote. So anyway, that could be a disappointment to the activists who cheered Mr. Ocasio Cortez and Mr. Markey last month when they introduced their plan to massive media attention. By contrast, the cable news networks gave the defeat footnote mentions. Exactly. So here we go. Mainstream media. Someone learned their lesson from. Just 10 minutes ago, the lesson from the Mueller, investigation. They cover this story, they don't cover that story. They cover this story, they don't cover that story. They don't cover both sides of a story. So again, they gave it great attention when they announced it. And it was like, oh, these big roundtable discussions on all the cable news networks. Oh, Ocasio Cortez. Oh, she's the new leader. Oh, this is a great thing, the Green New Deal. Yay! And then it goes for the vote and it gets defeated. And do they give it any coverage? No. They still don't learn their lesson. This is why people don't watch their networks, because they don't cover all the news. You can go to Fox. You can get, Brent Baer and Martha McCallum, those are straight up news shows, and or you can watch like The Five. That's a good panel discussion. It's a good mixed panel there. Then you can watch what's his name? You got 2 Never Trumpers on there during the day. You can watch them. Then you can watch Tucker, and Tucker always has liberal Democrats on, for debates. You get all that from Fox. You watch Shannon Bream's show at what time does it come on? It comes on at 8 o'clock Pacific time, 11 o'clock Eastern time. She gets a lot of people on the show. She's straight up news, not all opinionated, so straight up news show. So you get that. Now, like on CNN, MSNBC, you don't get any of that. You don't get anybody giving the opposite side of the opinion. Never. So they just could have learned their lesson, but they still can't learn their lesson. So there you go. But anyway, so they're still playing the same games. That's what I'm trying to say, I guess. So let me get to another story here. But yeah, the call-in number is 775-273-8970. Anybody want to call in? Go ahead and call in. Hey, it's a live call-in show. You can call in and be part of a live call-in show. And in fact, actually, let me call that one guy back who was calling here. Let me see if I can grab him back. Hold on. I said I'd call him back, so I guess I should. Let's see. No, that wasn't it. Let me figure out a way to do this. There's a way to do this. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, there we go. And I'm currently calling area code 509. I think this guy in the chat said it was a friend of his. Hello? Got a message saying that he was not available. So that was who's the guy in the chat here who said it was his friend. Let's see if I can find him. Oh, yeah, Bishop Don Cornelius. And so I'll just write him real quick. Yeah, Bishop, yeah, good name. Okay. Just no answer. There we go. Anyway, so we did just try calling that gentleman back, but got no answer. So there we go. Well, that could have been, but I don't know. I don't know. You know, one time I thought it was a troll, and it turned out to be someone who's a sub. One time I thought Amy was a troll. That was funny. You know, Amy called in. Well, I didn't have her number listed as a contact, so I thought Amy was a troll, and I kind of was really short with her. And then I saw her on Axe's chat, and I wrote to her. I said, "Was that you that called in the other night?" Or because somebody said they were Amy. So anyway, so I said, "Was that you that called in the other night, or was that a troll?" She goes, "No, that was me." And I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm sorry." So anyway, I pulled Amy's number off my Skype and I made her a contact so that if she calls again, I'll see it's her. So yeah, that was that was kind of funny. So, but yeah, so but yeah, so every once in a while, well, you get kind of, you always want to make sure you keep it clean on the site. And these trolls, what they do is they want to try to paint us on the right as being a bunch of racists, homophobes, xenophobes, Islamophobes, maniacs. So they'll come on the site and they'll talk like they think like one of those groups of people would talk like, right? And they'll want to put like the N word on the phone and get it through onto YouTube. And of course, I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube, so I got to keep that stuff off of there. And plus, I don't like those words, I don't like those things, and I want to keep it off. So when Amy called, I thought she was a troll. So those guys. And I was kind of short with her. Like, well, gee, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. I was like, like talking to her like I was talking to a troll, and then I just kind of like hung up on her. So, but yeah, so that does happen. So, but like I tell the moderators in the chat is like, well, if you make a mistake and you accidentally take somebody off that we shouldn't have taken off, that's okay. I mean, I'd rather err on the side of caution than not. So yeah, the mods like zero tolerance. Anybody put something stupid on there, feel free to zap them. But yeah, I kind of zapped Amy on my own, on the phone call. So that was kind of funny. But oh well, what are you gonna do? But yeah, anybody want to call in 775-273-8970? 8970. Again, that's 775-273-8970. And let's see, how am I doing on the sound here? Let me put me up a little bit. Okay. All right. So, there we go. And yeah, accidents do happen. Sorry, it was Carl, my Negro. There you go. But okay, let me see. Another story I want to cover here. Let's see. Oh, let's see. So Nike. Let's see. There's Laylo. Hey, Laylo, how you doing?
What's up, Carl? How you doing, my man?
Doing good. So happy to hear from you. I saw you like trying to get me to quit smoking there in the chat room, saying no smoking allowed or something.
I'm just teasing, man. You know what? You smoke all the cigarettes you want, man. If it makes you happy, I used to be a smoker myself, so I know it's hard to quit. So now I'm just a drinker.
Oh, well, it's funny. I used to be a smoker and a drinker. Now I'm just a smoker.
Oh, okay. Well, at least maybe you last a little longer like that. By the way, I just want to say hello to everybody here. Love you guys. Love everybody here. All right. Of course, I love myself a little more. But.
Yay! I love you too, Laylo. Tanya just gave you some hearts.
Yeah, I know. She's great. Everybody's here is great. All right. So what's the? I know we're talking about Crazy Eyes, Cortez, or are we talking something else?
Whatever you want to talk. It's open topic. Whatever you want to talk about, man. Anything.
I don't know. Let me see. I don't want to talk right now immigration because that shit is driving me crazy. I can't take it anymore. Every time I see videos, like today I saw some videos, and I'm like, why do I watch this? I mean,
it gets you depressed, right? I hear you.
Because I want to know what's going on. If things is getting better or worse. But the thing is, they're getting worse, and oh my God, I can't take it. I can't take it. I don't understand why they're not doing anything else about it. I mean, this is really, really bad, and I don't understand how can this look. I don't care if Democrat, Republican. How can you not see that this is destroying the country? I mean, if it keeps going like this, it's not going to be a country for nobody. So I don't understand. I don't know, Carl. It's just because I saw a video today. It was yesterday and today too. I saw a few yesterday and today, and now that's why when they talk about caravans, I don't care anymore because I used to be the caravans. They bring 5,000-10,000 people, but you know what? Every day it's thousands and thousands of people coming in. So who cares if a caravan comes with 10,000 people? Every day it's coming in anyway.
Right.
Before I thought it was just the caravan. I mean, I know they were coming, but I didn't know it was that many. So the caravan is like, oh man, the caravan. But now, honest, at least the caravans they go to the front door. Most of them, I guess.
Right.
So now, from what I hear, and I saw a video actually, since it's so easy for them, because they know now they can just drop the people and people they'll take them. So now supposedly the cartels are not rented. Sorry, they're I don't know if they're rented buses. I doubt it. They're using buses to bring the people, right? So like that, they don't take so long to get here.
Mm-hmm.
So when they get here, it's a place it's in Texas. I don't know where in Texas, but they have other places. But one is in Texas. The border will finish there, and then you just gotta go up the hill. I saw the video. They tell them just go up the hill. So when they go up the hill, they just gotta be in the American side, wait for the patrol. What is it? The guards or
right,
whatever.
The border patrol guys.
The border,
right.
Yeah, the border patrol. And just say, claim asylum, and that's it. Then they take them. They feed them. They check. They take care of them. Medicines, all that stuff. And then since they're so full, they release them. And then if they want to go somewhere else, they even get the plane tickets or the bus tickets to take them. And I just can't take it anymore. Oh my God, I see this and I'm like, oh my God, come on, man. I don't know, man. I know I didn't want to talk about this, and I and I just go back to that shit. Let's talk about crazy eyes. I think I'd rather talk
Crazy
about
eyes.
the crazy eyes.
Crazy eyes.
Yes, he's an idiot, and whoever follow her is an idiot. I don't understand why these Democrats they
No,
even
I
vote for the Green Deal.
I talk to people who I think are pretty intelligent, and they're like, "Yeah, she's really good." I'm like, "In what world?"
Get out of here!
I swear.
Oh my!
I know it drives me crazy. It drives me crazy.
No, I believe you, but I think sometimes people agree with her just to go against Trump. It's something like when Trump does something good, they always talk bad about him just because. Look, some of these people, okay, no, not some, a lot of these American people, okay, they rather see the country go down so they can say, well, see, Trump it was bad for the country. I'm telling you, they don't care. They don't think. Look, I wish I was wrong. Meaning, like, let's say if I don't know, pick Clinton, right,
Mm-hmm.
and let's see she's bad,
Yeah.
I'll be like, okay, you know what, I made a mistake. She was bad, But these people, they don't want to agree. They don't want to say, oh yeah, I was wrong. Trump is really good or he's doing good. They don't. They rather see things go bad so they can say, so they can blame him. That's what I think. Because I mean, come on, how stupid can you be? I think it's not brainwashed. I think your brain is just so fucked up already. The only thing they have in their brain is Trump.
Hopefully some of these people will get over this Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, like I said, CNN's ratings and MSNBC's ratings went way down last night. Now, that's not going to last forever. They'll eventually come back. But hopefully, like, they can, like I was telling Douchebag, same thing happened with me back in June of 2016. I used to watch MSNBC, 3-4 hours a night. But I was getting pretty good election coverage. I was getting pretty fair, good coverage. And then when Trump got the right until Trump got the nomination, or when it looked like Trump was going to win, and then they started going. It was all negative Trump, all positive Clinton, all negative Sanders, and I'm like, I was just trying to get some facts. I just I can make up my own mind. I just give me the facts. So that's when I really started watching Fox News in earnest. Then I started watching them big time because at least they were covering the campaign, and I really was getting fair and balanced reporting. And again, like I said, they have all kinds of different. They got Shepard Smith on there. They got Neil Cavuto. Those are two.
I hate that guy.
I know, I hate him too. But the thing is, they have him on. I mean, if you want to, these guys are never Trumpers, so they'll at least give you that angle of the story. You can at least see what the other side is saying. Okay. And then you can watch Tucker and Hannity and Laura Ingraham. And then if you watch Straight Up News, you can watch Brent Baer's show. You can watch Martha McCallum's show. And then you can you can watch Shannon Bream's show if you want Straight Up News. And then, so I mean, they have fair, balanced stuff. You can actually get news, and then you can get commentary if you want. You can watch Hannity again. You can watch Hannity and Laura. And then Tucker gives you commentary, but he also gives you, he puts a lot of liberals on his show, gives them the floor, lets them, argue out their points. So I mean, but on MSNBC and CNN, you don't get that. It's all the same people saying all the same shit. And then, so I guarantee, like I was telling Douchebag, when that Mueller report came out, there were probably people who were shocked that nobody was indicted because they've been, being told in this echo chamber that these people, Trump was evil, his kids were evil, and, Mueller was going to take them down, was going to put them in prison because the evidence was so overwhelming they were going down. Well, Mueller, who doesn't like Trump either, but he couldn't lie on a report. I mean, the guy's got a reputation to uphold. I mean, he was director of the FBI at one point. So, I mean, he's not going to lie and make up something that's not there. And I'm sure he was hoping he'd find something, but he found nothing. And he wrote that. And these people on MSNBC were like, oh, wow, how did that happen? It happened because we all knew it was going to happen, because we all knew how bad the investigation, started from the beginning with that stupid dossier from Steele. It was phony. It was fake. It was made up. He grabbed shit off the chat rooms of CNN's chat rooms, and he used that as information to put into the report. We knew that, but the people on MSNBC, they never heard that. When I would talk to liberals who watched MSNBC, they didn't know any of these things. Oh, really? I said, yeah, and that's true. So
Carl, so sometimes what I wish, like somebody can tell me about the truth. It's like, if these people, okay, I know some of them, they're lying. I know some of these, some of them, maybe, like CNN. But I would like to know what they think. Like, Do they think, okay, I know I'm lying, do they believe it? I mean, how can you actually lie to the people? That's the thing. I know you're getting paid. I understand that. But come on, I mean, how much of a traitor or an ass you can be to be lying to millions of people? I mean,
Yeah, they do it every
don't
night.
you have?
I mean, it's weird. You'd think they'd have some kind of like moral compass. They have some, but they don't have a moral compass. They have an agenda. Okay, and they believe in that agenda, and they believe they're in the right, so they can use any kind of means, whether it's physical violence or just straight up deception, to achieve it because they think they're morally right. In other words, they think their position is morally right, and then anything it takes to get their movement, or as Markey said, his revolution on board, and to make the world a better place because they know how to make it a better place versus how we've been doing it for 230 years in this country. They know how to do it better. And, follow them or we're all going to end up in hell. I mean, they're like these doomsdayers. I mean, and now it's like, and now 12 years from now, we're all going to be dead. So, and then when Gore said it back in 03, 04, he said, oh, yeah, 12 years, by 2015, we're all dead. Well, 2015 came and passed, and we're not dead, and we're doing just great. And so now I guess 12 years from now, they'll say, oh, we were wrong. We were off by 12 years. It's going to be another 12 years. Then we're all dead. Yeah, I mean, terrible.
No. I agree. I mean, look, facts. I used to watch it. I don't watch it so much anymore, especially after they did that to the judge, Janine. I mean, I didn't watch it all the time, but I like her. I thought she was fair,
Yeah.
I'm actually not. But the thing is, when they did that to her, I said, fuck it. I'm not going to watch Fox News anymore. I mean, I like Tucker. Don't get me wrong. Tucker and, I used to watch the Fives. What is it? The Five. Yeah.
The Five with Gutfeld and Juan Williams and Waters. Yeah.
Yeah. But I stopped watching it because I can't stand Juan. I can't stand the little. Oh my God.
I know.
I want to slap him.
Yeah, I know. He drives me crazy too. No, he drives me crazy too. He does.
Because this guy, man, he's like, sometimes he'll say something today if it is good convenience. I think he's getting paid by the left. Because some of the things he says, I'm like, come on, man. You can't be saying that. Even he knows it's not true. But he's always looking for something to say, against whatever is good for Trump. So yeah, I can't stand it. So I stopped watching it too. So I don't. Honest, what I use now most is the YouTubes. The YouTubers. That's what I watch the most because I get a lot of information through them. Like you and Axe, and I have a lot over here. So, and I like it. I don't really believe. In fact, let me tell you, I heard. I don't know if this is true, but they were saying in one of the YouTubers the. Brett Baer, right? Is that his name? Brett Baer?
Yeah.
And from Fox.
Yeah.
And then the other one that is at 3 o'clock. You just say his name.
Shepard Smith?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Supposedly them two got together, okay, and they say something to take Janine, because they were trying to go to that thing that CNN told them that the Fox wasn't allowed to go.
Oh, the debate.
Yeah,
the Democratic, covering the Democratic debate. So you're thinking that Shep Smith and Brett Baer also got together and got her off, so that the Democrats would let them cover the debate again?
Listen, that's what they were saying in one of the channels. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm just saying, I mean, look, nowadays I believe pretty much anything when it comes to stuff like that. And between them, don't get me wrong, between them. It's not that I believe them.
Right.
I'm just saying I believe them doing sneaky stuff and bad things because I don't trust anybody, in the mainstream media. I don't.
Right.
And you know what? I hope Fox keeps being a little fair, but I don't know, man. Some of the things are starting to change, and I think it's because after Disney or whatever, they bought the company. So I don't know. I think it's going to change. I hope I'm wrong, but I think Fox is going to start going a little bit to the left.
It could. I think I think with this Mueller report, I think I agree with Douchebag on that. I think this Mueller report just really set a lot of people back. Excuse me. And I think they maybe were heading for the left, but they just had hired Donna Brazil, if you remember correctly. And
yeah, I can't stand that.
yeah, they just hired her. They just hired her, which I don't know why they would hire her. I mean, the woman handed off. I mean, she violated all kinds of ethics when she gave the Clinton campaign, the questions that were going to be used at the town hall ahead of time. So I don't know why they would hire her. I mean, the woman has no ethics. So, but I think with that Mueller report coming out the way it did, I think that might hold. I think Fox may look, and plus with the numbers that came out Monday night for Fox versus CNN and MSNBC, Fox's numbers were up through the roof. CNN and MSNBC were down. Some shows were down 50% in the ratings. So I think if Fox is looking at the bottom line numbers, money, I think they're going to hold off on going off to the left like they were possibly thinking about doing.
Well, I hope you're right, but you know how it is. The zombies, they may go back to CNN again.
Well, yeah, they'll go back, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think, look, those that are watching CNN, I'm pretty sure they'll lose a few more, all right? But you got some, like a friend of mine, well, a friend. I don't think we're friends anymore, but anyway. he used to always make fun of Fox, and always say, yeah, CNN, So, of course, I kept my mouth shut in the beginning. But my point is, like, him, it's one of those that he will never leave CNN. He believes everything they say. And sometimes I'm thinking, and this guy, by the way, he's a little older than me, right? So I'm thinking, man, you're an older person. And now you got the phone, and computers and YouTubers. You can check out so many things and see different things. And I used to tell them, yo, go check different sites. And you're like, for what?
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. They believe this so much. And they look, you can approve a video, something in front of them, and they just don't want to see it. They just don't want to see it. They hate this guy so much. I don't know, man. And the whole thing, too, it's like, how can you be listening to a news station, okay, talking about the same thing every single day? I tried to watch it last year, CNN, just to see what they were saying, right, just because I was curious. And let me tell you, it was Russia this, Russia that, Russia this.
Oh, yeah, never
ends. I'm thinking, how can people actually watch this, for an hour or whatever? So I couldn't, of course, after like 5 or 10 minutes. I'm like, I got to get out of here. But I'm thinking, how, man? And they actually believe this stuff. I'm like, oh, my God, these people, man.
Right.
Oh, man, yeah. I hope they go down. I hope so, man. I hope we need this lying ass mainstream media to go to shit. Honestly, because they don't report anything else. They just what is it, actors or whatever.
Right.
I don't know, man. I try to stay away. Like yesterday, I only went to see a few channels on YouTube, but I'm trying to see if I watch old stuff, music or funny stuff, because, man, I think I'm going crazy too in my head.
Wait. What do you mean you're going crazy? What are you talking about?
Because, I mean, so many bad news. I mean, yes, we get some good news, but, I think, honest, we get more bad news all the time.
Well, no, like we get bad news, but there's a lot of good news out there. I mean, this investigation dragged down for 2 years, but at the end of the day, it turned out that the truth did rise to the top. Okay, the truth did. What's it say? Truth shall prevail. The truth shall win out. I mean, I don't know what the saying is. There's a saying like that, but the truth, something, whatever. But anyway, the truth rose to the top. The truth, came forward. And all these people got shown to be. And it was almost like say the investigation ended like a month in. Well, these people have only been lying to us for a month. Well, now these people have a track record of lying for 2 years. All the people in the mainstream media, and for 2 years, every single night, these people were lying to us. And so now they have a real big track record of lying. I mean, they were yelling about Alex Jones about, he puts up stuff that's not true and conspiracy theories. Well, for the last 2 years, the mainstream media put up the world's biggest conspiracy theory in the world, which turned out to be completely false. And none of them did, and Jeff Zucker saying, well, we're not investigators, we're reporters. No. It's called being an investigative reporter. Carl Bernstein, who obviously did no investigation into this Mueller thing, was just going up and saying, "Oh, Trump's going to get impeached. This is worse than Watergate." You know, back then, he had Carl Bernstein and Bob Woodward actually did some real investigative journalism. They went and talked to people. They went and talked to people who were involved in the Nixon campaign, and they interviewed this guy, interviewed that guy, and went to California and interviewed that guy, and drove there and did this. You saw in the movie All the President's Men. These guys were all over the place. They were constantly on the phone. This was before cell phones. Before the internet. These guys were actually, hitting the pavement and running around, going to the courthouse, seeing who was getting prosecuted, talking to people. That was investigative journalism. But on this whole Mueller probe, none of these guys talked to anybody. They weren't checking. Like, somebody would come on the show and say, "Oh, blah 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 blah," and they wouldn't even do any follow up. They wouldn't even question the guy on the show and say, "Wait a second, what evidence do you have of that? Are you sure what you're saying is true? You just said something. Can you back that up?" "Oh, well, no, I can't back it up." But they didn't want to put anybody on the spot. There was no pushback, so they just wanted that story out there. So anybody came on the show said something stupid, they go, "Oh yeah, Joy Reid show." I mean, they had that one guy on there over the weekend saying, "Oh, something stupid about white privilege." Like, and Mueller is part of a conspiracy, and I don't care what's in the report. It doesn't matter. Well, it wouldn't matter. I guess the report said what you wanted to say. You would have been okay with it, but since it said just the opposite, all the bullshit you've been spewing out for years, then you don't like it. So, I mean, we get a lot of good news. It's just, you get the mainstream media not learning their lesson, I guess is what I'm saying.
No, I agree. But listen, now that I was thinking about it, yes, I'm look,
hold on, Lalo, hold on. Okay, just to let the unknown person caller know, we don't take unknown person phone calls here. So at a minimum, you have to have, no, I'm just putting that out there. You have to have an area code. So no unknown person phone calls. We don't take them. Okay. But anyway, go ahead, Lalo. I don't want to interrupt. I'm sorry.
Si no sabemos quién es, we don't take your call. I said it in Spanish just in case.
Good. Right. Push one for Spanish. There you go. See, now we are multicultural. We are totally multicultural on this site. Yay!
We got your back.
All right.
By the way, I don't want to sound negative for everybody here. It's just sometimes it gets to your nerves. But yes, it's a lot of good things coming. One that I thought was great. It was seeing those two lawyers getting arrested. Oh my God, I love it. They're trying to put the president down, and they're the ones that are doing the corrupt stuff and doing the bad things. So, yeah, hell yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, the only thing I'll say about that, I'll say a couple of things. One, I mean, until I don't like commenting on legal cases till I see the evidence, because, I'm a lawyer, so I don't just go, "Oh, yay." No, I mean, I don't do that. So until I see what the evidence is and what they actually did and didn't do, then I'll make a judgment. But, there is a saying, though, people live in glass houses should not be throwing stones. So, yeah, don't be going around throwing stones at people if, your house isn't in complete order. And I hate to say it, but none of our houses are in complete order. So that the lesson to be learned on that is none of us should be throwing stones. so yeah, I mean, that there's a lesson there,
No, I got you, Carl. I understand you're a lawyer, but since I'm not, I'll say it for you. Yeah, baby. But I know what you mean. They're innocent until proven guilty. I still believe that.
Right. In other words, hey, look. I mean, look. If that wasn't our rule, remember, all the people on the left were trying to convict Trump without due process. We're trying to convict Manafort without due process, Papadopoulos without due process, Stone without due process, Corsi without due process. And I got a picture up right there of Jerome Corsi. Let me see if I can just pull it up a little bit higher. There we go. Yeah, there's a picture of Jerome Corsi right there, and they're talking about the collateral damage of those dragged into the Mueller probe. I mean, thank God we do have a system of due process. Otherwise, they would have just hauled all these people off and sent them to prison. So, I mean, I like our Constitution. I like our Bill of Rights. I like the Fifth Amendment. You cannot be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process. That's really important. That's like really like super good.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, Avenatti will get his chance to be in court, and he'll be able to mount his defense, and the government is still going to have to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. And if he walks because the government can't prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt, hey man, that's not Avenatti's fault. That's the government's fault. Pure and simple.
Yeah, how they were calling that the Trump's course. I don't know. Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. Yeah, I think I am. Course.
Corsi?
Man,
Jerome
what?
Corsi? Jerome Corsi?
No. It's like how they have the Trump derangement.
Oh yeah,
So
Trump.
now this
It,
is the Trump. This is the Trump course. Did I say that right?
the Trump curse?
And I don't.
Trump
Yes,
curse?
thank you. That's what.
Oh, okay, Trump curse.
Yeah, they saying don't f with Trump because then you get that. Everybody. Everyone that tries to do something bad to Trump, something bad happens to them. So they have a name for that too now. So I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah,
You know what? I did hear that. It's like everybody that goes after Trump ends up getting screwed. It's like
exactly.
It's like I'm Catholic, so I always think like God has a hand in these things, and I'm thinking like God is saying, okay, Trump, he's probably thinking, yeah, Trump, he's a fornicator, he's an adulterer. He's a braggadocious guy. He's real obnoxious, but he's out there and he cares about the American people, and he's out there trying to help regular people. For whatever reason, Trump has taken a big heart and a big liking to your regular American person, us, the working class, middle class people of America. For whatever reason, he really cares about working class and middle class people. He really just, I don't know why.
I agree.
Mean, I have no idea why, but he really does, and he really wants to help us. And so God's like, this guy's kind of a dick, and he's kind of an asshole, and, I don't like what he does with women as far as fornicating and adultery. But, he's trying to help a lot of people. So, anybody mess with him unfairly, I'm going to, mess with him back. The God of the God of the Old Testament, slaying the Philistines, you know what I mean? That God, I was telling somebody last night, it was like Jesus. He's talking to his son Jesus, and he goes, "Okay, Jesus, you stay out of this. This requires some hard, big heavy hand, and that's me. And I'm just gonna go mess with anybody who messes with Trump." It's like now, if somebody accuses Trump of something fairly, and he did something wrong, God's like, "Well, hey man, that's on you, Trump. Told you to don't do that." But if somebody accuses him falsely, which is one of the 10 Commandments, "Thou shalt not accuse thy neighbor falsely," God's like, "Hey man, Trump, I got your back. I got your back." You know what I mean? That's my opinion.
No, I'm with you. And let me tell you, man. I mean, I love Trump, and look, he's not perfect. Nobody's perfect, but you know what? This guy, his life, man. I mean, come on, he didn't have to be a president. I mean, he had a fucking great life. Okay.
Yeah.
But you can tell he loves America and he loves the values and the people here, and that's why I don't understand how can these people don't see it or they don't want to see it. And the other thing is like, okay, yeah, he did a few bad things, but who cares? He wasn't the president, he's a man, whatever, a billionaire. The way I see it is like this. I don't care who you are, okay, or what color you are, or whatever. If I think you're the right person for the job, I'm going to vote for you. And whatever happened in your past, hey, that's your past. I really don't care about your past, I mean, as long as you don't kill people or whatever. So that's why, these people are like, oh, well, because I have to be black, or I have to be a woman, or their religion. It's like, no, man, you got to vote for whoever you think is going to do the right thing for the American people, But
Right.
some of these people, I'm pretty sure you saw people saying, oh, yeah, she'll be the first woman. Who cares? It have to be the right person. I don't care if it is a little girl, if she does the job right. But these people, it's like nowadays, it has to be because you have to have a religion, you have to be a color. They don't even look for the person. And
Right. They don't. In other words, they don't look. I mean, here's a quote by somebody far greater than I will ever be. But they don't look for the content of the character, but only the color of the skin or the religion or their sexual preference. The whole point is, if it's a good person, you want a good person who's got good intentions and who's smart to do the right thing. I mean, you can have good intentions, but if you're stupid, then you mess a lot of shit up. Well, that's not good. So if you have you have good intentions, and you're smart, and you can execute on those good intentions, that's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good thing.
No, that's right. Anyway, and besides that, the guy's a good guy. You can tell he's a good guy, and he's doing things for the American people. And these people, when I see sometimes people interviewing, people in the street, And they're like, oh, why you hate Trump? Oh, because he's this or he's that. Well, usually you know how it is. Racist. He's racist. Why
Right.
he's racist?
Right.
Because he's racist. Or he hates women. Why he hates women? Like they always say the same thing that I guess they hear from the mainstream media, but they don't have no explanation. Oh, because he hates black people. What do you mean? How? He used to hang out with black people. And the thing that I think is so funny is like these people, I know they see, when I say these people, I'm talking about everybody that don't like Trump. I'm pretty sure they already saw pictures or interviews, him hanging out with famous black people, and these black people used to love them. And, now these people, these leaders or whatever, these black people, they talk shit about him, and, oh, he's racist. And I'm thinking, wait, I saw videos, hugging him and talking with him and smiling. So he wasn't racist at that time. Now he's racist. So,
Right.
so that I know they're lying. But the
Right.
thing is that the part I don't understand is the people believe in them. That's the part that I don't understand. I mean, you don't have to be smart to see one thing and then say, whoa, why are you lying?
I don't understand it. All I can say is it's just like this. Like the best form of brainwashing is the brainwashing that occurs when you don't realize that you're being brainwashed. The best propaganda is the kind of propaganda that you don't realize is propaganda. And if you're just inundated by movies and by TV shows and by commercials, and then newspapers, and then they finish you off with cable news, and your brain just kind of becomes mush. Let me tell you, when I stopped watching MSNBC and I started watching Fox, and I started hearing about stories from like say a year earlier, and then I got on YouTube and I was hearing about stories from a year earlier, and I'm like, wait a second, that sounds like that was kind of a big story. I don't remember hearing any of that one because they never covered it on MSNBC. And I'm like, wait a minute, like where did that come from? So if and so like most people don't have time to watch, okay, I'll watch MSNBC for 2 hours and I'll watch Fox for 2 hours and I'll try to get a balanced thing. Most people don't have time to go back and forth between the networks so they can hear both sides. So, I mean, the best network right now that you can get that from, is probably Fox. We get both sides. OAN, they don't really get both sides.
Oh, yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, they're good, but you don't get both sides. So, I want to hear both sides, and then I'll form my own opinion. Carl's opinion. Hey,
okay, I got
there you go.
I got you.
But for my own opinion. But I don't want to just hear one side because I don't want us to fall into the same trap that the liberals fell into, the leftists fell into by being in an echo chamber. So I do want to be able to hear both sides of it. One, at a minimum, just to challenge my own opinions to make sure that hey, I'm not just echo chambering in my own head, and then I'm like these MSNBC viewers who 2 years later say, how did that happen? Wait, what do you mean he's not guilty of anything? Wow, versus guys like us, who listen to both sides of the story. And so when the report came down, we weren't shocked or surprised, and we weren't like freaking out, because we listen to both sides. But, so we got to be careful we don't fall into the same problem they fall into, where, we just listen to ourselves all the time. We don't have anybody challenging ideas. Now the problem is, with the leftist TV shows like CNN, MSNBC, you really can't go over there and get the other side because they're not giving you the intelligent other side. They're giving you just straight on propaganda. So if you go over there and say, okay, let me see if I can hear what the other side is saying, they're not saying anything real. They're not saying anything that makes sense anymore. Which is, I've always said we need a strong two-party system in this country. So you have a strong Democratic Party, a strong Republican Party. So you get, keep each other in check. Make sure now the Democrats don't go too far to the left, Republicans don't go too far to the right. Well, the problem with Democrats now is they've gone so far to the left, they're just unbelievable. The stuff they're talking about, things like, Green New Deal, reparations. Their candidates are on the trail endorsing this nonsense.
That's the whole thing. Like you said, they've gone so far left that, they agree with everything they saw bad for the country. Pretty much bad for the country.
Yeah, before you could watch a liberal news station and hear an intelligent argument, but now you turn on their networks, you can't get an intelligent argument out of these people. You just get a bunch of blah, 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 Trump, blah, 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 Orange Man, blah, 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 bad. And it's like, well, wait a second, can we get, just give me an intelligent argument to debate you with, and and then like the Democrats pushing for these late-term abortions when everybody knows that the baby is alive. I mean, definitely alive in the last 3 months. Definitely alive when it's born. It comes in laying on the table. It's alive and it's breathing, and they want to kill it. I mean, how do you have a discussion with someone like that? And they're all cheering and happy. Yay, we get to kill some babies. It's like, are you people sick? Is there something wrong with you people?
But Carl, let me tell you, my parents, they're very old-fashioned. I mean, they're nice people, very old-fashioned. Besides old-fashioned, they're not stupid. They're just not really people with a lot of information. You know what I mean? So even they see, okay. I mean, they see things more now because I show it to them and I tell them, right? But even they notice how bad these people are with Trump, and then the new things that they come up, you know, like because even the Spanish channel, they'll say they'll talk about the Green Deal and all that stuff, right? And even my mom is like, "Whoa, what's wrong with this? This is not right." So even they notice that, you know, some of these the deals that they make, they're stupid. And believe me, my parents, they're very old-fashioned and all that stuff. So my point is, like, you know, when you have other people that, you know, they're a little smarter, or maybe they can, you know, they're watching, you know, they're in the computer all day or whatever, and they still don't see it. That's the people that I don't understand. They gotta be really, like you say, either really brainwashed or really dumbasses. Meaning, like, they're smart, but they're still dumbasses.
Right.
Well, Carl, I just wanted to say hello, man, and I haven't called you in a while. But by the way, congrats, man. You know, your channel is growing, man. Good for you, man. You deserve it.
Yeah, so, I'm doing a lot of private stuff out here. Like, you saw me at the chili cook-off and stuff last week.
Yeah, I only saw that thing for a little bit. I kind of missed it, and remember, I wasn't getting really. I was getting your how do you call it, notice, but it was after, like an hour after. 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I did like you told me. I shut it off, meaning I took it off, and then I got it back. I subscribe again.
Right.
And right now I'm getting it. I'm getting it again. You know. Good. So if I don't watch it, because I can, you know. But if I can, yeah, I'm always here. You know?
Oh no, no, man, I love you. I love when you're here.
But I wanted to say thank you, man, and you know, keep the good work, man, and you know, when you become really famous, don't forget about the little people, okay?
Are you kidding? Well, first of all, you're not a little person. You're Lalo.
But anyways, really, man, thank you, my brother. Thanks everybody here too, man. Love you guys. Well, I'm gonna be in the chat until you finish, and I'll talk to you soon, Carl. All right?
All right. Hey, love you, man.
I love you too, brother.
All right, man. Thanks. Bye-bye. And that was the great Lalo. Excuse me. That was the great Lalo. Always a great phone call. Always a great. Yeah, I hadn't seen him for a while, and he goes, "Yeah, I wasn't getting your notifications." And I said, "Oh shit." Yeah. So, you know, YouTube. Yeah. What you gotta do if that happens, you just go on, you unsubscribe, and then you resubscribe, and then hit the notification bell. Every conservative commentator has the same problem, and everybody will say, "I didn't get my notifications." You just gotta go in, trick out the system a little bit. You go in, you unsubscribe, then resubscribe, and then hit the notification bell. I know it sounds silly, it sounds juvenile, and you know, little kids play little kids games, I guess, but you know, that's kind of what we have to do. So, you know, I mean, same thing has happened to me. I wasn't getting notifications on Mark Dice's site, and I watch Mark Dice every morning at 5 a.m. my time. He's on every morning, 5 a.m. You know, same thing, Sticks and Hammer. Every morning, 6 a.m. my time, he's on. And I wasn't getting his notifications either. I mean, I know to go on at 5 and at 6, you know, but still, it wasn't showing up in my feed. And I'm like, well, that's screwy. So, go figure. But anyway, let's check out this story here. Collateral damage, those dragged into Mueller probe try to pick up the pieces. This is kind of a sad story. This is why Trump should just be pardoning everybody. Rand Paul said the Senate wouldn't be really happy about it. I disagree. I think if Trump comes up and says, hey, you know what? All these people got their lives turned upside down because they were associated with me. And he should say, that makes me feel really bad. Because all these people did was try to help me, and they got screwed. So I can't let that stand, not just as a president, but as a human being. I have the ability to do something about it. I'm going to pardon all these people. Jerome Corsi, never charged. Just give him a pardon anyway. Roger Stone, he's charged right now. Give him a pardon. Paul Manafort, he's still going to have to face problems in New York State with tax evasion, but pardon him on all the federal charges. I was going to say commute his sentence, but I was thinking like, well, if you pardon him, they can't use the federal convictions against him in the state court action. I mean, they don't automatically come in. There's a way to get them in, but still, they probably could get them in. So, screw New York State, make it harder for them to prove their case. So that's what I do. I'd pardon Manafort. General Flynn, obviously pardon him. I mean, he lied to the FBI about talking to some guy on the phone. Wow. Okay. Carter Page, even though he hasn't been prosecuted, give him a pardon just so he can do whatever he has to do. And who was the other person? Oh, George Papadopoulos, same thing. His conviction was lying to the FBI. And only because he knew Trump and was associated with the Trump campaign. That's why he got picked up and got picked on and had his life turned upside down. So I'd say give him a pardon also. And I think those 5 guys I just mentioned, I think those guys should all be able to walk. And I think Trump can do it not so much and say, I'm not doing this so much as a president, but as a human being, because again, the reason why these people even got looked at was because they knew me. I can't live with myself if I didn't do something about that. And I am going to do something about that. I'm issuing these pardons. It's on me. Nobody else told me to do it. It wasn't anybody else except me. I did it. It's me. You want to get mad at somebody, get mad at me. I think he could do that. But anyway, let's take a look at this story. Collateral, this is again brought to you by the Washington Times. And there's little C to the right here. Hey, Carl's opinion. I'm a subscriber to the Washington Times. But anyway, so there you go. But anyway, this is written by Jeff Murdoch of the Washington Times. And he goes on to say, Jerome Corsi was wondering whether he would be indicted by Special Counsel Robert Mueller when he learned from a Friday news report that the Russia probe concluded without new charges. Without new charges. He and his wife dropped to their knees, cried, and thanked God. I mean, think about that. Jerome Corsi was wondering whether he would be indicted by Special Counsel Robert Mueller when he learned from a Friday news report the Russia probe concluded without new charges. He and his wife dropped to the knees, cried, and thanked God. Imagine the emotional strain on him and his wife. George Papadopoulos, who pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI about his time with the Trump campaign, revealed Tuesday he's formally asked for a presidential pardon, and he should get one. Michael Caputo, that's the other guy. I always forget his name, I'm sorry. Michael Caputo, who also worked on the Trump campaign, was at a police station Tuesday reporting his latest death threat, one of hundreds he'd received since he was first connected to the Mueller probe 2 years ago. And another campaign official, J.D. Gordon, is mulling a defamation lawsuit against media outlets that mention his name while promoting now discredited claims that members of the Trump campaign conspired with Russia to influence the 2016 election. Now that Mueller has ended his probe without finding any conspiracy to subvert the 2016 election, those who became collateral damage along the way are now trying to pick up the pieces. This is the most traumatic experience of my life, Mr. Corsi, a conservative author, told the Washington Times. My wife and I are trying to reconstruct our lives, and it's not over yet, because I'm still dealing with the aftermath. I've lost my job. I have no income. I have $100,000 in legal bills, and Mueller couldn't care less. Yeah, so everybody said, when they were asking Sarah Huckabee Sanders, well, do you think Trump owes Mueller an apology for calling him all these bad names? No, he doesn't. He doesn't. Look how he leaned on. And remember, Mueller went after these people not because, these are bad people, I'm going to go after them. He went after them to lean on them, to put so much pressure on them that they would break. And not only tell something they knew, but make something up. As they say, Alan Dershowitz says, not just to sing, but to compose. To actually create something out of nothing. To actually lie, and say something that wasn't true. And that's why they leaned on all these people. That's why they went after them. That's why they made them hire the attorneys. Again, when these guys have to hire an attorney, they're not coming to some small-town attorney. They're going to the D.C. firms, the New York City firms, Manhattan firms. And these guys are expensive. Okay, these guys aren't cheap. But those are the kind of guys you have to hire. Those guys have the power and the name and the money and to be able to take on a Mueller or a U.S. Attorney's office. And they're $100,000 in legal bills right now, and that he's drained. I'm sure he's drained his savings, his whatever retirement money he's had. I'm sure he's drained all that to pay for attorney, so he wouldn't have to go to prison. While the special counsel did win a number of convictions and guilty pleas, including from Papadopoulos, they stem from financial crimes that predated the campaign, or from people lying during the investigation about their behavior. Mr. Mueller did not win any charges linking anyone to the central claims involving the Russian conspiracy. Indeed, while he says Russians did offer to assist the Trump campaign, he apparently has concluded there is no evidence to be found that any campaign officials accepted the offers. And then I even heard MSNBC where they're spinning even the report, saying no chargeable evidence. You know, not just saying there's no evidence. Now they're saying, oh, there's no chargeable evidence. So they're trying to spin it to say, oh, Trump is, still potentially guilty of collusion, just that they didn't have any chargeable evidence. They're trying to, instead of just coming up and saying, God damn it, we got it wrong. Okay, we got it wrong. We lied to you. We were in our echo chamber, and we should have dug deep into this. No, now they still got to try to spin this story. We're saying, oh, well, there's no chargeable evidence. There's no chargeable offenses. No, just say what it is, okay? 2 years, the guy could not find any evidence to show that Trump and his campaign people conspired with the Russians to fix the 2016 general election. Okay? Just say it. But they still got to try to spin it because, for 2 years been saying it's over, Trump is done, he's finished, especially Ari Melber, who tries to pretend to be an attorney. Okay, yeah, how many jury trials have you won, Ari Melber? How many jury trials have you won? Yeah, okay, how about none? Oh, you never done a jury trial, Ari Melber? Oh, okay, law school. Oh, that's nice, good. Any idiot can get through law school. Try working in the real world as a real attorney. See how good you can do then. Ari Melber. Oh, I'm an attorney. I'm a legal analyst. Yeah, 2 years you had it wrong. 2 years. Try doing that in the private sector. Try being wrong for 2 years in a row in the private sector and see if you still have a home or anything at the end of the day. See if you still have an office at the end of the day. Be wrong to your clients, for your clients for 2 years and see if you even have any clients left. You won't. You won't. Those who can do, those who can't teach. Those who can do, those who can't go on TV. Okay, you're on TV. You're a TV attorney. Okay, why don't you start a reality show? Anyway, indeed, while he says Russians did offer to assist the Trump campaign, he apparently has concluded there is no evidence to be found that any campaign officials accepted the offers. Now, those who face the prosecutor's hardball tactics are wondering why they had to go through it. Yeah, why? Well, one reason why. I'm happy they didn't indict me, but I'm not happy about the situation, Mr. Cortez said. They never should have threatened to indict me at all. Yeah, they stuck a plea deal in front of his face and said, "Here, sign this, or we're gonna indict you and send you to prison for years. You'll die in prison because you're an old man, and you'll be broke when you go there, and your family will be broke and destitute. So sign this or else." And by signing this, you're admitting that you were conspiring with the Russians on behalf of President Trump. And and he even contemplated signing it. That's how desperate he was. And then he thought about it. He said, he talked to his wife. He said, "No, I didn't do this. This never happened. This is made up. I'm not doing it." He challenged him. Go ahead, indict me. Go ahead. I dare you. Guess what? They didn't. For some, Friday's revelation... Excuse me a sec. There we go. For some, Friday's revelation that there would be no more indictments brought unexpected relief. Best birthday present ever, said Mr. Caputo, whose Saturday birthday landed just after Mr. Mueller submitted his report, and a day before Mr. Barr revealed the conclusions. He said one of the gifts was a T-shirt that said, "I survived the Mueller investigation, and all I got was this lousy T-shirt." Although he was merely a witness, he said he had still feared ending up in the crossfire. It doesn't matter how much they assure you that you are not a subject or a target, because it is a very aggressive prosecution team, he said. They can turn a witness into a target in the blink of an eye. When I see what happened to other witnesses like Paul Manafort, Roger Stone, Carter Page, and J.T. Gordon, every single one of us was in peril. Mr. Gordon said he was so angry Sunday he could barely speak. He compared his experience to the infamous Red Scare of the 1950s, saying it was 2 years of being terrorized by the media and others, and suddenly the terror ends. Even as Mr. Mueller's team packs up his Washington, D.C. office, Some of those dragged into the probe say they are still living with the consequences. Mr. Caputo said threats aimed at his family, which had diminished, ratcheted up after Friday's announcement that the probe had ended. By Monday, he said the threats and personal attacks swelled into the hundreds. Hundreds. Why are people threatening him? Why? Why? Because Mueller said he didn't do anything? Because Mueller said nobody around him did anything? Why? Because Mueller said Trump didn't do anything? So now they're going to start threatening him. Now they're going to start sending threats to him and personal attacks. Why? Because you're a conservative Republican? Is that why we get attacked? Is that why you get your life threatened? So why people try to have you killed? Is that why? Is that what that's about? And this guy got death threats coming to his house. He's got his wife and kids there. They go to Tucker Carlson's house and they go out there, throwing shit at his garage and stuff. His wife's inside all by herself, scared to death. Is that what that is? I mean, what's the point? He said his security advisor, well, that's not free. He said his security advisor had warned him that might happen. He told me when the report comes out and completely absolves the president and his team, the most broken crackpots will see it as a time of desperation and will be most inclined to act violently, Caputo said. Now Mr. Caputo is looking to rebuild his public relations business, which has lost 50% of its revenue since being linked to the Mueller probe. I don't know how he's going to do that. The challenge I have is that I am in the public relations business, and it's not clear how long this politically commissioned investigation is going to hang around, he said. There are people who tell me that I'll never work again. I'm about to find out if they're right. Unfortunately, I think they are right. I mean, you hire Caputo's public relations firm. I mean, as soon as the name Caputo gets mentioned, I mean, I'm sorry, man, it's out there. Does Mueller care? No, Mueller goes home. He got his money. He got his paycheck. He goes home. Some of these people don't get to go home again. Okay? When I say go home again, I think you know what I mean. Go back to their life. Corsi, his life's over. I mean, Gordon, Caputo, who else? Page, finished. Flynn, even if he gets pardoned, done. I mean, these guys, their lives are over. Their family. I mean, how many people do they touch? Mr. Gordon, meanwhile, says he's exploring a defamation lawsuit against print and cable news outlets and individual reporters who linked him to Russian collusion. He pointed to a similar case brought against the media by one-time Olympic Park bombing suspect Richard Jewell, who was later cleared. He said he worries that people will view the Mueller report as a whitewash and will always be seen as a villain. Yeah, well, people are doing that right now. I mean, again, I was watching Ari Melber. Oh, no chargeable offenses. He can still be guilty. Nance was on Joy Reid. Oh, yeah, I don't care what's in the report. People are still out there putting this stupid narrative out there, even though the investigation's done and there are no indictments and there was nothing, and the Trump team did nothing wrong. Mr. Cortez already has a $350 million lawsuit against Mr. Mueller and his team, alleging illegal surveillance and leaking grand jury information. I want that case to be heard, and it now has merit, given that they did not indict me. He said, very hard to sue a federal actor, though. It's if you can sue a state actor, it's under Title 42 United States Code, Section 1983. But there is no such statute to sue a federal actor. A federal actor meaning like a drug enforcement agent, FBI agent, a member of the Department of Justice, or even a special counsel. They're generally immune to liability. There's an action you can bring, but it's based on common law. It's known as a Bivens action. But basically, the Supreme Court, since Bivens action was first contemplated, I believe, by the Warren Court, maybe not the Warren Court, it was in 1972, 73, I can't remember. Basically, the Supreme Court has told the lower courts to get rid of these cases as quick as possible. They generally get kicked out by summary judgment. So I want that case to be heard, and now it has merit that they did not indict me. Papadopoulos said in an interview that with Reuters on Tuesday that he is considering withdrawing his guilty plea. Now he says that he misspoke while being grilled by FBI while being grilled by FBI agents, contradicting a statement to a federal judge that he deliberately lied to the G-men. Mr. Gordon, Caputo, and Mr. Corsi and Papadopoulos do still have to deal with some fallout. They've all been asked to turn over documents to the House Judiciary Committee. Several told the Times they don't have the documents requested and are prepared to tell that to the lawmakers. Caputo says he's worried about longtime Trump associate Roger Stone, who faces a trial in November on charges of witness intimidation and lying to Congress. Mr. Mueller lodged those charges. Mr. Caputo described Mr. Stone as a dear friend, adding he is helping raise funds for his $5 million in legal fees. That's what they're anticipating Stone's legal fees are going to cost. $5 million. This guy needs a pardon. Okay? They all need pardons. All right? So, anyway, let's see. Get over here. Okay, did not check. Anyway, we've been going a little over 3 hours here, and actually been a great live call-in show. Some great live callers, as opposed to dead callers. Sorry, man. I guess it's getting late. Sorry about that. Oh well. But anyway, so I just want to say thanks to everybody who's been in the chat tonight, and thanks to everybody who's been watching and viewing, and thanks to everybody who'll be viewing later on and tomorrow morning and stuff. Much appreciated. And if you like the video, definitely hit the like button if you want. You don't have to if you don't want to. And if you like it a lot, you're not a subscriber, please go ahead and subscribe. And again, I just want to thank everybody. A great evening, great commentary, great conversations here tonight. And so anyway, for Carl's opinion, I just want to say thank you, and we'll see you next time we do a live stream. And God bless, and have a great night. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.